The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Yes, now guys, we are live once again. It's great to be seen, and it's great to just keep things going, keep everything turning over here on YouTube here in the boxing world. It's been a pretty eventful week. There's some pretty cool things happening in the boxing world. There are some things to talk about. I got what? Roughly, I got what? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I got like 9 talking points. I got 9 talking points, and I'm sure you guys are going to come here with all kinds of great comments and open up my mind and make me think even deeper about these subjects. So this might be another 2.5 hour, maybe even a 3 hour live. We'll see how it goes, but however long it is, I'm going to enjoy my time here. Make sure you guys, smash a like button so this video gets pushed out to as many people as humanly possible on YouTube, because YouTube tries to suppress the truth. They try to keep like real boxing content creators like myself down in the dumps. So your likes definitely help, and I appreciate all of that. And if you're new to these parts, definitely subscribe, definitely super chat, all that good blase. We're gonna talk about Shakur Stevenson. We're gonna talk about this turkey card that's got announced. We're gonna talk a little WBC. We're going to talk about Richardson Hitchens and stuff that he's saying on Twitter, and as well as, of course, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to ask me about Bivol versus Beterbiev and Bivol turning down the trilogy offer. I made a video about that earlier, so I'll give you all some more thoughts on that as well. But yeah, definitely an action-packed show. Make sure you guys smash that like button and let me know what city, what state, what continent you guys are watching from, and all that good stuff. I'm just enjoying my last, 7 to 10 days or so before I gotta get back on the road. And when I get back out on the road, who knows where this leads me? Like when I get back out on the road and I start going to all these fights and countries and things like that, I legit might not be home till Christmas or January 2027. So I'm really enjoying this time because I don't know what the hell is about to happen to me in my life. But nonetheless, it's a blessing to be here. And let's take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that are already here, making their presence felt in the comment section. And let's give people a little bit more time to get into here while we before we get into our talking points and before we get into the meat and potatoes of everything. So let me see who we got here. We got my main man, Chris Mayette. He says a whole lot's already happened this week in boxing. Yep. It was supposed to be a slow week because there really ain't no. I mean, we got Pacheco fighting this weekend, and that's cool, but there's not really a whole lot in terms of big-time boxing cards this week. I know next week we're going to have Tim Zeus fighting Errol Spence. Anthony Joshua's come back on the card on that card next week. So that next week will be a bit more eventful. This week's not a whole lot going on. You got Japanese boxing. You got like Hayato Tsutsumi fighting tomorrow. You got Yugo Osaki fighting in about a day. So there's cool things happening in Japan, but like nothing massive, and nothing massive really here stateside. So, but still, boxing continues to deliver, plenty of headlines. So yeah, JV says Haney versus Shakur is next. Trust me, talk. Well, I believe it is. I mean, from a business standpoint, and I'll get into more of it later on. From a business standpoint, Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney makes the most sense. These guys have been talking about fighting each other for God knows how long. These guys' names have been linked to fighting each other for a very long time. In fact, I was going through my my Instagram story archive the other day, and I found this clip from Sky Sports. And if I wouldn't get copyrighted, I would post it on here. But I found a clip from Sky Sports of Devin Haney's media scrum from when he was doing his media workout for the Lomachenko fight back in 2023 at Top Rank Gym. I was there, and back then, Devin Haney was talking about fighting Shakur, and you can see me in the background, and Devin's getting his hands wrapped, and I had just seen it yesterday. So even before that was 3 years ago. Even before that, we were talking about Haney versus Shakur. So it's been in plenty of years in the making. I think these guys now are in a position with Zuffa Boxing coming into the fold and now being willing to pay. I feel like Zuffa Boxing will pay and quite possibly even overpay both these guys above their market value to make this fight happen. And I think for Devin Haney, who's very well managed, whose dad does an amazing job of guiding his career, I think business-wise, Shakur makes a lot more sense than, let's say, a Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is he's hits harder than Shakur. He's not as big of a name. You wouldn't get as much credit beating him. You still get credit, but not as much credit as beating a Shakur Stevenson. So, no, I mean, I feel like it will happen. I feel like we're only, days away. Probably in the near future, it should be announced. So we're just at this point, it's not a matter of if, but when. So shout out to you, Joel, my main man, Joel. I was just talking to him on Instagram. He says, "I like Hayato Tsutsumi. I learned about him on this channel. Yeah, Hayato Tsutsumi's the truth. I'm happy to see Hayato back in the ring. I want to try to watch this fight, but if I can't, I'm definitely gonna do a post-fight review on it because he's probably, in my opinion, like accomplishments aside, in terms of pure skill set, I think he's the second best fighter in Japan behind Inoue. If we're just talking about skills, So good to see him back in the ring. What are your thoughts on Nishant Dev? I like Nishant Dev. Nishant Dev is a good fighter. We'll see how he looks when he gets deeper into fights. I know his coach Ron Sims very well. Very good coach. Very good guy that you want guiding your career. Nishant Dev looks like a guy that works hard and he's getting great sparring in Vegas. Obviously, there's a lot of economic opportunity with him being Indian. He could be the first Indian world champion. So quiet as kept. Nishant Dev might have a chance to be one of the faces of boxing, just for the simple fact that he's from India. It's an untapped market, massive population. Probably one of the more, really for me, one of the more interesting fighters out there. But he ain't really fighting on one of his next fight, as is damn near nobody is in that card. That card that's taking place in Saudi on the 25th, like it's literally one of the worst cards I've ever seen, ever. Joey Box is good, champ. He said, "What's going on, True?" He says, "They can't let Shakur play with them like that." Nah, man. There are so many at that top level, and I'm starting to experience a lot of this in my own right, in my dealings with Angel Leo and having to deal with these guys like Espinoza and Shushu and Figueroa and all the politics behind the scenes. There's so many fights at the top level. There's so many fights you got to win behind the scenes before you get in the ring, and it's like you can't let nobody play with you. My man right here says, Snoop BT, do you think Sandoval has a good chance to be the Asa Koyaso? Yes, I do. But I don't really care for the fight just because they both have guys like Asa Koyaso has a whole smorgasbord of guys. He should be fighting 108 pounds. He didn't fight Pedro Tajo at 105 pounds. So I can't really get myself up for that fight right now. Maybe when it happens, I'll be excited. But right now, I don't really care about it. I'm kind of pissed off that it's happening. J-Dub, what's good, champ? Would I trust Shakur to keep his word if no, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Who do I fear between Haney and Keyshawn? Devin Haney, just because he's a bit more mature and his head's screwed on a bit more right now than Keyshawn. Be on the lookout for Zay Farr at 147. I'll look out for it, champ. Thank you for putting me on game. I always like looking out for the new young upcoming talent. So appreciate that. Mar the Prince, good to see you, champ. Salute to BT. Harlem Eubank versus Dave Papo is also fighting this weekend. Yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out. There's not a whole lot of boxing on this weekend, so I'll probably check it out. It's a Misfits Pro card, and the Misfits Pro is not that they're not that deep into their boxing journey as a promotional company. I'm very intrigued about Misfits Pro. I hear great things about them behind the scenes, and I hear all kinds of great things from fighters that are following their cards and just all kinds of great things. So I want to see how they continue to progress as a promotional company in the fight game. Could be another avenue for fighters to sign with, moving forward. All right, last 3 comments, and then I'm gonna get into my talking points because we're at the 10-minute mark now. Good to see you guys here. J-Dub says, "I really don't like how Shakur is moving. Join the club. Neither do I. Who should Tazaki fight next when he beats David?" Jin, I think I answered this on the last live. I was saying that I feel like hold on, I'll pull it up. I was saying that Jin should probably fight. There was 3. I think I said Kona Walker. I'll look it up because Jin's only rankings in the WBC. So Jin's ranked 14 in the WBC. Kona Walker's 15. Lewis Crocker's 12. So I said Lewis Crocker, Kona Walker, Mean Machine Kavalusic at 10, Samuel Molina at 7. One of those guys. I think one of those guys would do top 15 contenders, Olympians, in Kavaluskis' case, former world title challenger. Why not? And God willing, I could be in Japan for Jin's next fight, the Hachiochi homecoming fight. They just built a big arena. They built a new event center in Jin's hometown, so I'm sure it'd be a great atmosphere, and I would love to go see because I can't really say too much because everything is in confidence. But I've been getting some amazing reports about Jin Suzaki's last training camp and some of the things he was doing in the gym, all across Vegas against very good people in sparring. So I'll just leave it at that. And yeah, Hayato Tsutsumi is returning in a few hours. I'll be keeping my eyes very close to that because I got to do a video on that and continue the long-standing tradition of covering Japanese boxing, our true school sports. But nonetheless, guys, look, let's get into it, man, because I got like 8 talking points I'm gonna run through. It might take me some time, but bear with me if you guys are, depending on where you're at in the world. Some of y'all might be getting up because some of y'all in the UK, some of you guys might be getting home from work. But either way, hopefully this makes your day better, no matter where you're at in the world and what stage of your day you're at. But let's get into it, man. So I got 8 of these talking points. Where should I start? I'll start here. So just like within the last hour or so, Bill Haney, he's had it up to here. Bill Haney, OG Bill Haney, he's had it up to here with Shakur Stevenson and the talking and the going to Zuffa and the saying and the double talking and the contradictions. And he's pretty much G checking Shakur Stevenson, and he's calling his bluff because Shakur, has made all these demands saying that, he can't go to 147 pounds because Devin Haney's too big and all these guys are too big. But then you watch Shakur stand next to these guys and he ain't that much smaller. Like Shakur he's fine. He'll be just fine at 147. But it's gamesmanship. It's the mental warfare before the actual warfare. I understand that about boxing, so I get it. Let's look. If Shakur Stevenson, if he doesn't sign the 144-pound catchweight contract soon that he's been talking about, right? Or if they don't put anything together to make it happen at that weight, Bill Haney's saying, look, we'll go fight Keyshawn Davis, and then the onus is going to be on Keyshawn Davis. Will he step up to the plate? Will he fight Devin Haney? Because he's been talking a lot. Now, he's been a bit quiet. Keyshawn Davis has been a bit quiet recently, and that could be interpreted one of two ways. That could be interpreted as, hey, he's getting ready to fight Devin Haney, or it could be like, yo, he's getting ready to duck Devin Haney. However you want to interpret it, that is your prerogative. But we shall see. But anyway, I'm going to go to screen share, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys the tweet. I'm going to show you guys what OG Bill Haney is saying, and make sure you guys go smash that like button. So look, this is what Bill Haney said right here. And I quote, Devin Haney doesn't need to drop anything first. Sign the 144-pound bout agreement, or Devin Haney Promotions moves on. So very straightforward, very cut and dry, very to the point, and that's what it is. Keyshawn Davis is Devin Haney's mandatory challenger. Bill Haney, what he's essentially saying to Shakur is, hey, we have no problem fighting you, but look, there's a bout agreement. You sign that bout agreement, so we know we got to fight, because one thing we're not gonna do is drop this belt and then negotiate a fight with you, and then you decide for some reason you don't want to fight. Now, Devin's left out in the cold. Devin's lost leverage, and Devin gets screwed. So no, he's letting you. Bill Haney's doing what a great manager is supposed to do. He's being very direct and very to the point. So I'm gonna take y'all back a little bit. I'm gonna take you guys back some time. Do you guys remember when Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson were both at the club somewhere in Houston? I'm going to say roughly 3 to 4 years ago. And Shakur Stevenson sent Devin Haney some bottles, and there was a big old sign that said sign the contract, and Shakur Stevenson staring at Devin Haney from across the club, right? Do you guys remember those things? Do you guys remember that? Well, now we have reached the point where it's time to do that. The actions now have to match the talk. And Shakur Stevenson has to step into the plate. Now, look, I'll be very candid with you guys. I'm very honest. I'm an honest man. I don't got no reason to not be honest. I'm one of the most honest channels on YouTube. I like Shakur Stevenson as a fighter more than Devin Haney. I am higher on Shakur Stevenson as a fighter than Devin Haney. If Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson fight, I will be picking Shakur Stevenson. I want to get all that on record right now. That being said, ever since this fight has been a thing recently, it's really been Shakur Stevenson that's been moving funny, not Devin Haney. Devin Haney is the welterweight champion. Devin Haney represents Shakur Stevenson, much like now in a way, potentially going to featherweight. Devin Haney represents for Shakur Stevenson to become what I call boxing royalty. And you may say, BT, what do you mean? Like, Shakur Stevenson is already a 4-division champion. He won a silver medal. He did this, he did that. He's already boxing royalty. But no, when I say boxing royalty, I'm talking about that exclusive 5-division world championship club. There's only been but so many of those in box history. You know, your Crawford, your Floyd Mayweathers, your Pacquiao's, your De La Hoyas, your Sugar Ray Leonard, your Tommy Hearns. It's only been about 6 of them. Devin, if Shakur were to go up to 147 and capture that belt, he would be the 7th fighter to do that. And that right there, to me, that would solidify him fully as boxing royalty, no matter what nobody got to say about him, right? But he don't want to do that. He wants to play these games, these tacky games, and he want to fight about 144 pounds. So it sucks because people aren't going to give him as much credit for beating Devin Haney because, look, if Devin Haney loses the fight, they're going to say, well, you're going to allow Devin Haney and his fans to have a built-in excuse, which is, hey, those 3 pounds I was wagering, I could have retained as much. And I know it takes 2 to tango, but what I'm saying is the win won't be celebrated like it should be. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, as time goes on, people forget these little facts. You know, nobody demeans Manny Pacquiao as much. And he fought guys in the catch weight, you know, and it's only a handful of people that actually call Manny Pacquiao the catchweight king. But I'm just highlighting it to say that I don't like it, and I think Devin Haney and Bill Haney. If I was in Bill Haney's position, and of course it's easy for me to talk because I'm not the one in negotiations with Shakur Stevenson, but it's my opinion. If I was in the Bill Haney's position, I'd say, you know what? No, F all that, man. Like we're Devin's a big star. Like Devin's a big name. Like you're a big name. I'm the welterweight champion. I'm the number 1 welterweight in the division. I beat the number 1 guy in the division, and Brian Noah Jr. to get here. I don't need to dance to the tune of your drum. Like I'm Devin Haney. I'm one of the best pound fighters in the world. I was undisputed. You weren't undisputed. You understand? Like I would make Shakur fight at 147 because it's only right. It's right. It's only fair and it's only just. And Shakur Stevenson over the years has shot his mouth off about how he is like the next Pernell Whitaker and all these things. But okay, if you don't get a chance, you don't get to anoint yourself as the next Pernell Whitaker without doing some Pernell Whitaker-esque things. And Pernell Whitaker, when he moved up from 140 pounds to 147, not only did he fight Buddy McGirt at 147 pounds, but he fought Buddy McGirt in a style where he was on the front foot and he was aggressive and he actually outfought Buddy McGirt. It wasn't no damn like chess match or anything like that. That's what made Pernell Whitaker special, was that he had that defensive ability. He had that ability to outbox you and be slick and be the counter puncher. But when he actually moved up and weight against another top fighter, he could actually change the game plan and fight you on the front foot, moving forward, pushing you back against another top champion like Buddy McGirt. So to me, there's no comparison between Shakur and Buddy McGirt and Pernell Whitaker, because Pernell Whitaker did some special things in the ring. Now, of course, Shakur Stevenson said in his interview with Shannon Sharp that he's not trying to be the next Mayweather or the next Pernell Whitaker. He's trying to be the first Shakur Stevenson. And of course, you should always strive to be your best self in life. Don't be like no other man. But all I'm saying is the 144-pound catchweight, it's tacky games being played. And I hope Bill Haney follows through on his word, because if Shakur Stevenson gets on his bullshit and doesn't want to fight Devin Haney at 144 pounds, then go fight Keyshawn. And let's see if Keyshawn Davis, if his actions will match all the talk and all the rah-rah that he's been giving the boxing world all these years, you know? I was there in Virginia when he fought Nahir Albright, and I asked Keyshawn, I said, hey, Devin Haney said this, he said that. Keyshawn, you know, pretty much said that he's going to beat him. And that's what it is. So that time is about to come for Keyshawn, and he needs to step up to the plate. And unlike Shakur, because Shakur is a name, Shakur has done more than Keyshawn. Shakur, I think, is a bigger star than Keyshawn as of right now. Keyshawn's on his way, of course, but Keyshawn Davis, really and truthfully, Keyshawn Davis, I think whatever is offered, he needs to take. He needs to take. If he really believes in himself, if Shakur Stevenson doesn't fight Devin Haney and he gets the opportunity, I don't care if it's 25%. I don't care if it's 30%. He needs to just fight Devin Haney and believe in his skills. And you be Devin Haney, now all of a sudden you're in a driver's seat. Now you're probably gonna pop up on the pound list. Now you're gonna be like really a commercial star, you know, if you beat Devin Haney, right? So we're gonna find out a lot about both Keyshawn and Shakur. Depending on how these dominoes fall. And look, I'm not like I said earlier, like I said before in my Mayweather voice, you know, like I said before, I'm not no Devin Haney fanboy. Devin Haney, this the same Devin Haney that just quote tweeted me a month and a half ago talking about some I don't know shit about boxing. So if there was anybody in the situation that I shouldn't be on their side and be biased against, it is Devin Haney. But I don't operate like that. I got thick skin, you know. I can take the heat. and I can run the kitchen, not just stay in the kitchen, but run the kitchen. Devin Haney, in his career, he has been willing, ready, and able to step up and fight, good fighters repeatedly. When he fought Lomachenko was still a top fighter. Regis Prograis wasn't that far removed from fighting Jose Zepeda, where he looked really good. Brian Norman Jr. was the number one welterweight in the world who was knocking out damn near everything moving, and Devin Haney fought him and reestablished himself there when people didn't think he could, right? So I give Devin Haney his just due for his willingness to fight good competition. You understand? You can say what you want about him, but he's been willing, ready, and able to drop his nuts and fight. And we can't really say the same for Shakur Stevenson. I like Shakur, but Shakur Stevenson, look how hard it's been to get him in the ring. Oh, Shockey Foster, right? So even though Shakur is a great fighter, I feel like the guy that's been willing, ready, and able to fight the better competition has been Devin Haney throughout the duration of their career. He don't play as many games negotiating a fight as Shakur does. That's just the truth. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. And also, this also comes in light of the fact that, and I want to highlight this as well. This also comes in light of the fact that, and you see it right here on the screen, Rayo Valenzuela, Rayo Valenzuela has been very open before Shakur Stevenson ever announced the signing with Zuffa Boxing. Pretty much since his first Zuffa Boxing fight, Rayo Valenzuela has been calling for the Shakur Stevenson fight. Now, Rayo, I respect Rayo. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's on the level of Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. But one thing you got to say about Rayo is Rayo's a good fighter. Rayo was world champion. Rayo has 3 losses. Yes, that is true. But Rayo's fought good competition. Rayo avenged 2 of those 3 losses. He avenged the De Los Santos loss, and he avenged the Chris Colbert loss. And that right there will tell you the kind of character he has in the ring. So while I don't love the fight, like I would rather Shakur Stevenson not fight Rayo Valenzuela. I can't really shit on the fight. Like if we can't get, we're not gonna get Shakur versus Keyshawn, and if we don't get Shakur versus Devin, right, or Shakur versus Floyd Schofield or Abdul Mason or something like that, then I'm okay with him fighting Rayo because Rayo is willing to fight him. But as you guys can see on the screen, because this just happened roughly 3 hours ago, yesterday, Rayo said, and I quote, "Welcome to Zuffa, Shakur Stevenson. I'm your tune-up fight." And Shakur Stevenson said, "No, you're not. I have to go say yes." Remember that. And quote. And obviously, Shakur Stevenson has stated that his Zuffa deal is not like a lot of the other guys' Zuffa deals. He's a partner with Zuffa. He has a lot of more say than a lot of other guys do. So he says. We'll see if that holds true. But I'll tell you this: if none of these big fights happen for Shakur, he's gonna fight Rayo Valenzuela. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just to put a true school catchphrase out there. Shakur Stevenson versus Rayo Valenzuela. It just sounds very Zuffa. It sounds very Dana White. It sounds very, just Nick Khan. It sounds like a Zuffa boxing fight. So I can see it happening no matter what Shakur says. But he's got a willing combatant in his back pocket if the Devin Haney fight doesn't happen. So hey, respect to Rayo. Rayo's always been willing, ready, and able to step up and fight the best. And if he can't get the fights, it is what it is. It's not because of him. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Those are my thoughts on the whole Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney situation. Let me go to your guys' comments because I got 10 or 11 comments. Let me see what we got here. What we got cooking here? What are the fine folks here saying? Yo, Sean Zattel in the chat. Hey, everybody make sure you guys go pay your respects to my main man, 50 grand, Sean Zattel, the Dundada of boxing media. The other half of the era of the real unboxing is the Zattel True School, the True School Zattel era. Go subscribe to him, man. He should already been at 65, 70, 80, 90, however many. He should have a gajillion subscribers. So go run it up so he can get to a gajillion subscribers. But he says, BT, you're not keeping that same energy. You're like Gohan, 7 years following the Cell Saga. You ain't the same. And then he says, they're ducking Adrian Broner. Yeah, let's talk about it. We could talk about it too. We could talk about it. Ryan Garcia, he don't want to fight Adrian Broner because Adrian Broner called out Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia said he got bigger fish to fry. And everybody knows that Ryan Garcia fighting Adrian Broner is he'd make more money fighting Adrian Broner than probably all these guys, especially with all the streaming stuff going on. Broner's back. I got YouTube shorts from Adrian Broner from like 2 years ago when he fought Blair Cobbs that are going crazy because of the streaming stuff. So shout out to AB. He's helping grow True School indirectly. But yeah, jokes aside, Bill's making the right tweet there. You're not the WBO. Just accept the fight or don't. Me personally, though, just take the Keyshawn fight, dangerous, and then say fuck 144, and now it's at 147. I'm actually, I'll tell you this, man. Devin Haney, there's still people out there because boxing's a sport where you're always gonna have to prove yourself to the day you hang up your gloves. A lot of times fans won't be satisfied with what you do, but I feel like Devin Haney has been willing, ready, and able to fight the best fighters in the world when he can. But there are people that still, they say, oh, well, Lomachenko was a smaller guy and Prograis wasn't that good and Brian Norman Jr. was ass, and people still downplay his wins. I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, and I'm gonna put it out there in plain English, and I might have to clip this because Devin Haney says I don't know shit about boxing, and he probably thinks I hate on him, and I don't hate none of these guys. I'm gonna tell y'all like this, straight like this. Like, if Devin Haney fights Keyshawn Davis next, I don't want to hear nobody say shit about Devin Haney. Devin Haney, that's the ultimate way to drop your nuts, to say, you know what, Shakur, you want to play these tacky games. You've been talking all these years about skills, and you're a bad motherfucker, all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, you don't even want to fight at the damn weight class where I'm world champion. You don't really believe in yourself. So you know what? Forget you. I'm gonna go fight your brother. I'm gonna go beat him. I'm gonna snatch his. I'm gonna show the world that he's not what you say he is and what he says he is. I'm gonna snatch his and show once again why I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and I'm gonna do it for less money. If Devin were to do that, y'all can't say nothing about Devin. Nobody can say nothing about Devin. My man said, when will Shakur fight another top Black American boxer? I mean, you gotta go ask James Prince. You gotta go ask the team. You gotta go ask them. We gotta go ask them because it hasn't happened yet. It could have happened to Ara Bell many years ago. It didn't happen with Ara Bell. Could have happened with O'Shaquie Foster, who he promised he'd fight if he beat Raymond Ford. O'Shaquie threw Raymond Ford out the ring like he was Stone Cold Steve Austin in the '99 Royal Rumble, right? King of the Ring, on some King of the Ring type shit. Threw him out the ring, and it still wasn't enough to get Shakur to fall through on his word. So I mean, I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine. I want to see it. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I would say he's a B fighter. You can't call a guy who has fought the competition he's fought and then wound up avenging those losses in devastating fashion a C-level fighter. I would say he's a B, but obviously it's not the first choice. But again, like my man Joel and I say, when certain fights, you may not like them, but when you start saying the matchups out loud, it just sounds like it falls in line with what that promotional company would do. Like Shakur Stevenson versus Raul Valenzuela at like the Cosmopolitan or something like that. That just sounds very Zuffa boxing. It just sounds very Nick Khan and Dana White. Like I can actually hear Dana White in my head hyping that fight up, Yeah, he doesn't like either of us, but if he takes the Keyshawn fight and beats him and Norman back-to-back big-time respect, I don't think squeezing the 144 is smart anyways. Absolutely not. Yeah, Devin. I mean, is that you? Yeah, hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me finish this thought, and I'm going to let Pops cook here for a second because I told Pops we want Pops on the live today, so Pops said he's going to come here and give y'all some weekday boxing talk. But before I get to Pops, let me finish my thoughts on that. So Devin Haney's a big kid. Even by Devin Haney's own admission, he's a fat boy. He's a guy that cuts a lot of weight down to get to where he's at 147 pounds. He does a great job of doing that. Those 3 pounds will make all the difference in it will drain him. If he fights Keyshawn Davis, especially because if Keyshawn Davis winds up fighting, let's say, a Brian Norman Jr., because that's a fight that's on the table. And I think it's a great fight. I think that's a fight that will really say a lot about Keyshawn and Brian Norman Jr. if they both take it. But if Keyshawn beats Brian Norman Jr. and then Devin goes and beats Keyshawn Davis, I mean, what more could you say? I'd have to give him all the respect in the world. And yeah, Devin Haney doesn't like Sean to tell, which I don't understand because Sean was the guy that was interviewing Devin more than anybody. He played a big part in Devin Haney's rise in popularity with all those interviews on Fight Hype back in the day. But that's neither here nor there. Now, me on the other hand, I can understand why he doesn't like me because the guy to my left has talked crazy about him through the years. But it is what it is. It's no hate, and hopefully he continues putting on great fights for the boxing fans. And then last Sean's tell comment, then we'll go to Pops. Yeah. He says, I wonder if Zuffa's contract has clauses for Shakur, if it's all guaranteed, meaning if he loses or doesn't make certain fights, does that change anything? That's a great question. Now, if we Shakur and Stevenson, the way he described it, he said that he's pretty much a partner, that he has pretty much the last say on everything. We'll see how that goes. We don't really know what the reality is until it comes time to sign the paperwork and get these fights done. But we'll see. We'll just have to see. But anyway, let me go ahead and swing it over to this man right here.
What's going on, guys?
You know, because it's a slow week in boxing. It's a very slow week in boxing, Pops. But you got, I don't know if you heard anything. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of the live.
No.
So I'm going to show you a tweet. And then I'm going to kind of tell you what's going on. And you can give me your instant reaction because people want to know. They want to know from you, Pops. Yeah. So, you know, Shakur Stevenson signed that big deal with Zuffa Boxing, right? And where is it? He signed that big deal with Zuffa Boxing. So he's gone over there. It's like the new world order in boxing now, pretty much. Him and Devin Haney are supposed to fight. There's been rumors of Devin Haney potentially vacating the WBO welterweight title to fight Shakur and not fight him at 147, but fight Shakur at a catchweight at 144. So Bill Haney's calling the bluff. Bill Haney's saying Devin Haney doesn't need to drop anything first. Talking about the title. Sign the 144-pound bout agreement or Devin Haney Promotions will move on. So he's telling Shakur Stevenson, if you don't sign the bout agreement, it's going to be F you. And we'll go fight a mandatory Keyshawn Davis. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this?
I'll be honest with Shakur Stevenson. I really didn't expect him to sign with him, but then again, I think he ducked some fight or something. Somebody was saying that he ducked some fight for upcoming fight or other fighters because he went to Super, blah 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 blah. But I'll say like this: I think Foster was saying like, yeah, he just went over there, whatever. Now we're not gonna have to fight or whatever. I saw Foster, but I'll be honest with you. This guy he's a world talent. I don't want to hate on him. I'm talking about Stevenson, but you know what? To me, he's been just talking.
Tell him how you feel.
Talking, and I'll say like this: stop your fucking talking. Stop acting like a bitch. You're from Newark, New Jersey, or wherever the fuck you're from. And act that you want to go in there and write your legacy. And I'll go into further detail on that. I don't like when you're talented and all you do is fucking talk and don't make the fights. How many fighters did he? I ain't gonna say duck, but turn down because he didn't want to do this and he didn't want to do that, or rumors or whatever, right? And one of the biggest things I have with him is him don't ever put your fucking Sugar Ray Robinson's name come out of your mouth. You don't know. You will never know. You will never be equal to. I'll say this. Any of you motherfuckers.
Well, to be fair, he actually downplayed Sugar Ray Robinson. He said Sugar Ray Robinson wasn't that great. Like, it's crazy. Well, Shakur Stevenson's supposed to know all this. He's supposed to be this great pound for pound fighter. I've seen him shit on so many old fighters and not know certain he didn't know who Michael Nunn was when I interviewed him 4 years ago.
And my whole point is fighters today, not all but most, they feel that they're entitled now. Now they want all the big fights. Now they want all this shit. But honestly, I'm tired. I like him. He's a specimen of skill, specimen of everything. But I'm just tired of him talking, to be honest with you. And to me, I've been disappointed in him. And I hope if he fights Haney, I hope Haney.
Are you going for Devin Haney?
Yeah.
Oh, hell's frozen over.
I'm not.
You the same guy that was talking about Felix Bejo beating Devin Haney?
Yeah. And I always, even Bill Haney says, he said, man, Pop's always saying, why is Pop's always talking about, we like Pops, but Pops.
Shakur, you done messed up. You got Pops going for Devin Haney. This never happened in the history of true school sports.
So if you go and get Devin Haney, I'm going with Haney. Don't tell me he's going to stay in there and he's gonna play the defense in the pocket, and he's gonna do this. Shut the fuck up and fight. That's all I want to see. I want to see your legacy written like that. But everything with you now is you're entitled. You're entitled. You went to the Super because you wanted the beginning. No, you went to the Super because you didn't want to get your motherfucking ass beat.
You know what I heard?
And you didn't want to get your motherfucking ass beat, and you went to fight second level fighters or third level fighters. That's where you fucking went there.
Now I don't know if this is true. Y'all can take this with a grain of salt, but I've heard from multiple people in the boxing world, and maybe it's wrong. You know, things get told to me all the time. I don't really know what's true until I actually go to the source. But I've heard that for Zuffa boxing fights, Shakur Stevenson is getting around a $15 million guarantee no matter who he fights.
And how many fights?
No, like anytime he fights, it's $15 million.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. The level in Super boxing, and people saying, "Oh yeah, well, Super's gonna get more fighters for him." And I forgot where I was watching it. Somebody brought a good point. Like how many 135 or 140 fight? What was Super fighters for him to fight there?
The biggest fight he can make right now is probably him versus Rayo Valenzuela.
Yeah. So
what do you think about Shakur versus Rayo Valenzuela? Because I think it's gonna happen. Honestly, I feel like all this is gonna. Because this is how I've been trained to act when it comes to certain fighters in boxing, based on how they move. All this is gonna find a way to not happen, and we're gonna get Shakur Stevenson versus Rayo Valenzuela.
And you're gonna walk off with him and come back, whatever. But the point is, if you're this guy that you say that you are, well, why haven't you proven it yet? Don't tell me that you haven't this and you can't. You had a lot of powers within yourself to do a lot of things and fight other fighters that are better than that. But going to Super boxing, to me, to a lot of the fighters, not just describe to him, to me, the competition level is not up to par.
They're still building the roster.
Yeah, still building the roster and doing that. So for me, don't tell me this. And all you're doing, you're shitting. And I don't think I disagree with the Super boxing. And I'll say real quick, it's y'all gonna be fighting for Mickey Mouse belts to come out of the motherfucking gumball machine. The belts that originally here, WBC, WBA, IBO, all these other original belts. Those motherfuckers have more value and more legacy than you. And I know people gonna say, "Oh no, you pops, you're talking out of your ass." The whole because the new saying is some fighters say, "Oh, I don't care about the belts, I just want the money." And Stevenson recently said that on one of the interviews when he got into with Zuffa. I forgot who was interviewing him, and he said, "No, right now we just care about the money. I don't care about all these belts."
Well, because he's mad because he feels the WBC unjustly stripped him.
Yeah,
that played a role.
Listen, I don't care. Whatever happened. You're not doing your part. I've seen you in the last couple of years or whatever time you've been doing more fucking talking than you've been doing fighting. So I can't respect that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you go sign with Zuffa. Who the fuck you got over there? Yeah. You don't have the fight. They're trying to build something over there. But until then, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Huh? You gonna go on your son?
So a couple of things, Pop. A couple of things I want to address. The first thing is this comment right here from my main man. Yes, indeed, boxing. He said Shakur Stevenson didn't know Marvin Hagler was as good as he was, and the man came from the same state as him. Yeah, because he came out with a tweet, and I guess he had just recently finally watched Marvin Hagler, and he was like, man, I didn't know Hagler was that great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these fighters today, I wish that we can just go back with boxing was 15 round, 16 round fights and see how they really would be. And they were more active back then than they are now. These guys right here think they're entitled to everything, that they should have this, they should have that. To be fair, how many belts as Shakur won? Has he ever been undisputed?
He was world champion at 126, 130, 135, and 140. So 4 division champion.
4 division champion. Okay, so that's saying a lot to him. But I'm not going to sit here and say that that he shits gold both breaks out of his ass. What I'm saying is, don't sit here and tell me that all you want is big fights, and you want this, and you want that, and the money is everything. No, you can have the money and also have the legacy. You just know what the fuck you're doing. I'm tired of him just talking. And I'll tell another fight. I won't say his name, but I talked to him recently. Another fight that comes from a very big city that has a lot of famous fighters, right? They asked him this recently, and he looked like shit. He didn't know what he was talking. They asked him, who you want to imitate in NLA from your city, or who you think is the best, or you like? He gonna talk about motherfucking Bam Rodriguez. Nothing to do with what
I don't know what you're talking about. But
anyway, go ahead.
So I want to ask you 3 things, and I'll ask you one by one so you can address one piece by piece. By the way, guys, smash the like button. Yeah, you got any questions for Pops?
Yeah.
Get them down below. Super chat, all that good stuff. But first thing I'll ask you, Pops. So in light of Shakur Stevenson signing the Zuffa deal, one of the 2 of the things that he said was, number 1, that this right here, he's setting the example for boxing, and he's showing that he's a leader. and not a follower, and that by signing with Zuffa Boxing, he has beat the system. What do you feel about that?
No.
How do you feel about that? You agree with him?
No, I don't agree with him.
Why don't you agree with him?
He's entitled to his opinion, but to me, and I'm not trying to hate on Zuffa. Zuffa's doing what they gotta do, like anybody else to compete. They're trying. I think for me, Zuffa, to be honest, I think those Zuffa for me will benefit the fighters that never got a chance with these testing promotional companies and have some type of life to go get a chance, an opportunity to make money. That's one thing I like Zuffa. He also said that it's a new life and a new beginning. The fuck you talking about? You a new beginning for me. You're avoiding the fights you should be making and going to a place where you just want to get the money and that's it. And then you want to say you're the best. And people are gonna say again, you're gonna say, "Oh, Pops, you're talking out of your ass again." Super, he's going for the money and that. I'm mad at him because he's not putting on. And if you're a true leader, well, once you lead your ass in that ring, fight Shakur, Shakur Foster, or go fight your buddy,
Keyshawn Davis. You're still on that.
Yeah, because and I'll tell you who shut that down real quick, and I give them respect to both of them that are gonna fight next. Teofimo and motherfucking Rolly. They're good friends.
Mason and Bell too.
Yeah, Mason and Bell. They trained. They did this. They did that. They didn't sit there and say, "Oh well, he's my buddy, and we can't fight, and this and that." So I lost respect for you for one. You act like you're entitled to everything, and when you use that Sugar Ray Robinson thing, you definitely blew me out of the fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? And then you move to Zuffa, you say it's a new beginning. No, motherfucker. You should stay where you are over here with the promotion company and fight the real dogs out here instead of coming over here and getting whatever you're gonna get.
All right, question, and this is a very important question because the pro Zuffa boxing people, one of their talking points is that everybody's under one umbrella, and if you sign with Zuffa, they're gonna work with the zone no problem, and Shakur can still fight on ring cards because Turki Al Sheikh, the Saudi investment fund, they bankroll Zuffa boxing. Turki Al Sheikh owns a piece of the zone.
Okay.
Turkey controls the chessboard of boxing right now,
right?
And Zuffa boxing is just signing to one side of that chessboard, right? What do you feel about the very pro Zuffa people that say, well, there's no roadblocks here, that Shakur can just fight Devin, Haney, or whoever on a Ring Magazine card? How do you feel about that?
I don't think it's as easy as it making it sound to be. And I'm going to say one thing about Zuffa, right? I was telling my son this: when you go catch a rat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put that motherfucking big cheese in that cage or that trap to get that motherfucker, right? But as you get better, that cheese gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to happen to Zuffa. I don't think Zuffa is going to be this great organization that's going to take over boxing. You got an idiot in Dana White who wants to give you a fucking $10,000 knockout prize, just like or whatever he's giving that like he does to UFC fighters, where in real time fighting with the belts, fighting for the other promotional companies, where you want to do it, you're gonna make more money. And the biggest thing that I don't like about Zuffa, I don't know if it's not doing that, I don't care, I'm behind on time or whatever, the alley app. You motherfuckers keep signing with them, you're gonna find out about the alley app. It's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. So what was the other question? Because I guess wrong.
Oh no, you answered about a ring show.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll ask you about Zuffa before I get the comments is the biggest fight Shakur could make is definitely Gervonta Davis. Now Gervonta Davis, he doesn't need Saudi money. No. He already sells tickets without Saudi money.
All right.
He was very adamant last March when he pretty much said that like the Saudi stuff was like the Illuminati and selling your soul, and I don't need Turkey and all this stuff.
He told Turkey he wanted a Porsche or something.
He said Turkey he wanted 2 Ferraris, and Turkey said, I send you 2 Ferraris, and we do the big fight.
Yeah,
that's what he said. But do you feel like, can Zuffa boxing? Do you feel like they could box Tank into a corner and make him fight Shakur Stevenson? What do you think about that?
I think at the end of the day, no, we're gonna have questions. We're always gonna have questions about Tank, right? Because the biggest thing on Tank is, he's fought some fighters, good fighters, but he's never fought the top of the elites. The elites, that's always gonna come behind his shadow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, you can't force him to do a motherfucking thing, because if he hasn't done it by now, he ain't motherfucking doing it. I'm telling you, just like that. That fight, it was gonna be done. It was done a long time ago, and when it is done, I think it's gonna be washed out. I don't think it's gonna be as big.
I don't think so.
I know. I think it'll sell, but I don't think it's gonna be as big as people think.
I think it'll be massive
because Shakur, I don't know how about what this whole thing is. How many fights he got there, Malto, how many years he's with them, or just one fight, or 50 million, whatever the case. Like you were just telling me, I don't know how long it is, but for me, and just as me, I have to have the legacy and the motherfucking money. I don't see a big
legacy first,
right? I don't see all these good fighters or great fighters, so to speak, going to Zuffa and they're gonna get this all of a sudden, have that legacy that they're gonna build into a Mickey Mouse fucking damn.
Shakur said people like you need to get over the old way of boxing. Boxing is changing, it's evolving.
Well, tell Shakur, just like I talked to your boy Keyshawn Davis and questioning about you. When I see you, Shakur, I'm gonna question you myself. I'm old school. Oh, and when I came to Puerto Rico, I'm from Jersey City, so I know about.
You're from the same
Jersey.
place.
Yeah, he's from Newark. I'm Jersey City. Ain't no joke either. So I'm not afraid to ask you that question, but I want to ask you in front of everybody else to see how you're gonna react.
Oh man!
And give me an answer like a man.
Well, that's why he's a super boxing. They're not gonna accept me to go to those fights.
Yeah, of course not.
You're not gonna...
Oh man! But yeah, I just want to see the best fights when I can see the best fights, and I don't think a lot of fighters are gonna go jump all over to
Zuffa.
Nah, most of them,
I don't know, man. Like I mean,
I've
I spent a lot of time in Vegas earlier this year, and I was in all kinds of gyms. I met all kinds of fighters, signed with fighters. I'm not gonna say the names, but fighters signed with Pro Box, fighters signed with Top Rank, fighters signed with Golden Boy, and a lot of fighters. These fighters talk. These fighters do talk. Yeah. So they're gonna ask Shakur when Shakur has his first fight on Zoom. They're gonna say, Shakur, how they treating you? And you know what Shakur's gonna tell them? Yo, they paying me crazy. And he's gonna tell them how much money they get paid. And then I think you're gonna start seeing more fighters sign with Zuffa because of this.
Fair, in my own opinion, I could be wrong. Zuffa's only gonna sign, and even Danny White said, we're only gonna sign the big fights and not the big fights, the top of the notch fighters that we need to have for our brand to get built, and this and that. And if we can't get that, then we're not just gonna sign anybody off the street just like it's gonna be. No, it's gonna be like that. So for me, building a legacy with a fucking Mickey Mouse Zuffa belt, it eats me up inside. Period. And I don't agree with a lot of promoters.
How about the sanctioning bodies?
Yeah, that's not. But the promoters. But I will say this. This is about Oscar De La Hoya. You can say whatever you want about him, but he's pro for the boxer as far as with the money and this and that. And you guys are soon going to find out when that cheese runs out. Oh, God bless you. If Turkey goes to Papa Dios, when he goes back to heaven, all that money closes up or whatever, or who's going to run it after he goes with his sickness, God bless him and everything, we're going to find out what's going to happen. Because I honestly think Dana White is a fucking clown. I'll just tell you. Like,
damn, you said clown. That's a strong word.
Yeah, I don't.
What Dana White do to you?
I just don't like the way he runs. I mean, he's cocky, he's this and that, but that's why who he is. But to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm gonna sign big contracts," and then start giving Mickey Mouse, I'm telling you, all these big contracts are gonna go down, and all these guys are gonna get fucking.
Do you think the contracts will go down, like if the bill gets passed to the Senate and then Trump approves it as well? Because that's all that needs to happen right now. The new Ali has to go through the Senate. It's already got to the House. It has to go through the Senate, and then Trump has to say yes.
To be fair, people are gonna say, "Oh, Pops, you still living back in the day, 20, 30 years. Come back to realities, the new generation, the new time." Honestly, when I seen Upper Tie with that fucking Mickey Mouse belt from Zuffa, and you put it against the other belts. And you're like, man, what kind of value, kind of history that has? Nothing.
Well, history's being written.
But like you go for the money, I get it.
No, my man MEZBX, he's had a lot to say to you, man. He said earlier, he didn't like how you said Shakur has to prove himself. Now he's saying De La Hoya stays in litigation with his fighters, but Dana White is a clown. Pops, you don't know shit about boxing.
I can say whatever I say, but I'm gonna go to the source and I'm gonna motherfucking find out. And whatever I say, whether you agree with it or not, we all have our opinions. But I'm gonna speak what I gotta speak.
I'm telling y'all, I've been sparing the boxing world, not breaking into more fights all these years.
Listen, I don't know shit about boxing. Then you tell motherfucking Shakur to do what Teofimo and motherfucking Rolly did and this and that.
And Bell and Mason.
I lost respect for that motherfucker after he didn't fight. After O'Shaquie Fawcett beat the fuck out of his boy.
Threw him out the ring,
and then he shook his hand. Didn't want to shake his hand or whatever the fuck he did. And then what was that fight? O'Shaquie and then there's another fight that he was supposed to. I just forgot it. We were just talking about it. Him. So I can't sit here and give all this light. And what happens sometimes is when I voice my opinion, a lot of you guys have your own agenda, just like I have mine on that favorite fighter or this fighter and this skill fighter, and you can't say nothing motherfucking wrong. Just like when God bless Boots and Philly and them, just when I call out Boots and I did this and I did that. But you know what? I have my opinion like you have yours. I don't know shit about boxing, but goddamn, I guess you don't know shit about boxing. You're not respecting my opinion.
I'm gonna say this, and I'll respond to this. So he's not wrong. De La Hoya been in litigation with Canelo. Him and Ryan have had their disputes.
I get it.
But what I can say is, I mean, Oscar hasn't done wrong, but all his fighters, there's some fighters in that Golden Boy stable right now that I feel he's doing a great job by. Like, for example, a guy that I think he's doing a great job by right now is Amari Jones. Mm-hmm. Guy is literally about to get a middleweight world title shot. Just headlined his first show on the Zone in the Bay Area, bringing big time boxing back to the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. His stock has shot through the roof since time Golden Boy. But you can't really use litigation as a speaking point because Dana White had to pay out $375 million in class action lawsuits to over 1,000 fighters just last September, less than a year ago, because MMA had a monopoly on MMA and they were underpaying these guys, and so they had to go pay out a lot of money. So you can say, well, litigation here, litigation there. Litigation is part of business. In the fight game, there's always going to be litigation. There's always going to be lawsuits. That's its part and parcel of the business. But one thing that is not normal in the fight game is paying out almost $500 million in class action lawsuits. So
yeah, and I'm not saying to say that the promoters are always all angels either. You know what I mean? There's dirt all over around. I'm just saying in my thing, what I would truly believe in, I'm really strong on the Ali Act, and I think a lot of fighters are being blinded by that. You know what I mean? And I get it. Sometimes you throw the big cheese, you do whatever you do to entice the fighter to go somewhere else, get that big money, and they're set with that. Well, that's fine. But don't say after you get that money and you didn't fight the fighters you're supposed to fight to build that legacy that you were the best ever. But don't tell me this sort of shit when you just took that money and fought whatever level fighters you're going to fight. But for me, that's why I have a big thing with Shakur, because I like Shakur. I remember back, I put when he was a little kid. I'll say a little kid, like he was 12 when you first, way back when you interviewed him.
Talking about when I interviewed him at the Spence Algeria card before he went to the Olympics.
Yeah, and then I see him now, and he's still talented. But let your talent and everything talk in the motherfucking ring. This is the problem we have with fighters.
You can't hate though. He's 4-division champ. He's a great fighter.
If you didn't fight the people right now, you have to go. What the fans want, the supply and the demand, or whatever the shit is called, right? A lot of
what about okay? So I'm gonna give you a phrase because this phrase gets said to me a lot from boxing fans. Sometimes fighters too tell me this when there's things they don't want to do. What about the whole phrase of legacy doesn't pay bills? What do you think when people say legacy doesn't pay bills? But basically meaning that like, yeah, you want me to fight with Shockey Foster, but that's not the biggest money fight out there for me. Legacy, like when I'm not fighting no more, you're not gonna pay for my kids' lives and my family's lives and things like that. Legacy don't pay bills. So what do you say to that? The legacy don't pay bills crowd.
Well, I'll tell you like this, right? You can say what you want about the legacy that doesn't pay this and that, but you build your legacy by you fighting who the public wants to see you fight. You don't go putting flapping like a duck and going this way and making this excuse, and you keep your man on your word. Okay, that's all we got in this motherfucking world. Go ask Al Pacino and Scarface.
What you got? Your what?
The word.
Your word and your what?
And your balls.
That's right.
That's it. So, and when there's a supply and demand, and people want to see these fights, you gotta say, oh, this fight's not gonna sell, or this is and that. So what? The people want to see it. You know why? Because you say you're gonna do something, but you didn't. And then when you've been buddies with your friend and Keyshawn Davis, I'm not mad at you. I'm just telling you, when you guys are buddies and all this shit, get that out of there. That means you all need to go check out the recent interview that brother made with the OG Stacey McKinley. I think in his interview he came out with saying something like that too. He says, "Business, you got to make these fights." He was in accordance with what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, you have to make these fights. So don't tell me your legacy is great when you didn't fight the best of the best. You can still make your legacy and make your money. If you
I know so many fighters. Like I be talking to so many fighters, and they just think like money comes out of thin air. I'm like, you guys do understand? Like, yeah, of course, the promoters do get money from the networks, and of course, the networks do control the chessboard of the boxing revenue, pretty much. Yeah. But Do you guys understand that people have to actually like want to pay to watch you fight and buy your merch and buy your pay-per-view? Like you do know people have to know who you are and care about you. You don't just get money just because. And you can be a great fighter. Like you got to actually, continue to get your name out there. You know what I mean? Like it's not just I go and I fight and that's it. Nah.
And it's a lot easier now with the social media and everything. It's not you can't do it. How many fighters do we know that are real good or that have belts, but they don't get the same rap or positive outcome from the boxing fans because they don't know nothing about them.
Correct.
So I mean, so that's again, you got to promote yourself, you got to talk, you got to do this. But I just don't like. To me, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want you guys. He's just a Shakur. No, I just think he's become in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think he's more of a diva in the talking and just taking action and fighting who's supposed to fight, and that's it.
Damn. Okay, so we'll just dead it right there because there's other things I want to talk about besides just Shakur. But shout out to everybody here. We're almost about an hour in, so smash the like button, subscribe, super chat. I got a couple questions. I got to answer to my boy, Yes Indeed Boxing. He says, Brendan, can you confirm Charles Conwell returning to the ring, or have you heard? Well, yeah, it's already been announced. He's going to be fighting on the undercard of Road Cepeda against Paul Crow. Good fight. Paul Crow's a crafty fighter, good boxer from Philadelphia. Conwell hasn't fought in like over a year, so it's a good fight to come off of a year layoff that'll really show where he's at. And yeah, he was out there in Vegas sparring Jin Sasaki. He was one of the many guys that Jim was sparring out there, and it was great. And then he asked also, is Stacy still going to work with Tio? Now, if you watch the interview, he answered that question. He said he hasn't got a call yet. But they like Stacy and Tio have a long relationship. Tio and Stacy was part of Tio's camps for like his third, for like 3 of his first 6 fights. He used to go all the time. Tio used to train at this gym called the Heavyweight Factory at nighttime when Stacy was down there with a Mary mom. And so they go back some years. So they're always in contact. I know Tio Senior and Stacy are always in contact, but as far as being part of the next camp, I don't know. Stacy said as of right now, it's not. So that's what it is.
And he's happy either way, he said too. And he says that if they call me, fine. If they don't, I'm fine with it. I'm still, got a relationship with them.
Hoops Combo, what's good, champ? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hoops Combo in the building. My Josh in the building. Said my boy BT. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so what else do we have on the agenda? Let me see. Oh, you know what? I wanted to get your reaction to this, Pops. I want to get your reaction to this because I haven't talked about this myself. I'll have something to say about this here in a second, but where is it? I want to talk about this. All right, so the next fight I'm supposed to go to is in New York in roughly 12 days from now. On the 26th. I'll probably be there like 8 days from now, roughly 8 or 9 days. But anyway, Richardson Hitchens, he's always entertaining to follow on Twitter. I like Hitchens a lot. As a fighter, I like Hitchens. I like his boxing style. I'm gonna pull it up because I have to go find it. But basically, Hitchens, I think Hitchens is stirring the pot. Hitchens was saying that pretty much, he used to be a big Canelo fan until he realized that he was better than Canelo. Everybody started frying him. Let me pull it up.
I know he just wanted he just wanted to get some kind of attention or something.
Where is it?
I'll get an X or whatever you guys TikTok or you talk on it. Get people. Come on, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I got it right here. Hold on, we just pull it up. Listen, New Yorkers. One thing I know about New Yorkers, I know so many of them, is New Yorkers feel like they're the celebrities. But look, here's what he said. So this is what he said right here verbatim. He stated the following, and I quote. He said, "I'm a Canelo fan, but I used to be a huge fan until I realized I'm better at boxing than him. But he's a hell of a fighter."
He's drinking the wrong Kool-Aid. I'll be honest with you. He better not even say anything about Canelo ever since, because Canelo, I don't.
I feel like he just really believes in it. Like a lot of these guys, they talk and they sound delusional.
But you're not him.
I actually
out of New York.
See, what Hitchens doesn't know that I know about him is that I won't say with who, but one time I was hanging around with one of his best friends, and one of his best friends FaceTimed him. Okay, I was in the background, but his best friend didn't know. Like, he didn't know that I was in the background. Yeah. So I got to hear the real Richard Hitchens, how he talks to people, how he talks to his friends that are also fighters.
Is he real?
And Hitchens, one thing I can say about Hitchens, man, that guy's a professional. He really gives his all to this craft. He's a real serious fighter.
I will say in the last couple of years, he's gotten a lot better than when I first used to watch him. I used to hate watching him, but I'm like, this motherfucker.
But he's good at what he does.
He got the jab, he got the distance, he got everything down. And I was also say I was very disappointed with the last. I really wanted to see him fight. When
Duarte?
Not because.
And then he pulled out the 11th hour.
I mean, he right there. That said a lot about him. And then he come back and talk like the New Yorkers or whatever we want to say. Got back on social media and came out and said something like, "Oh well, I'm this, I'm the best." And somebody said, "How the fuck can you say you did this when you didn't even fight the last fight? So what are you talking about? So whatever." But he's much really improved though.
He's got a interesting fight. His next fight. Speaking of Zuffa, he's taking on Ricardo Salas, the hard hitting Mexican contender who has some good wins. He knocked out Roman Villa. He beat Ken Cruz. He beat Jesus Sriracho his last fight. But like the guys he's beating, Salas, they're more like come forward guys. They're not like long, rangy, outside boxers like a Hitchens. So it's gonna be a challenge for him. Hitchens, he's managed by Keith Conley, who I know you spoke great about recently. In our we were at the coffee shop the other day. Keith Conley got him this fight at the theater at Madison Square Garden to look good, to raise his value. Because if Devin Haney comes to Zuffa, Hitchens doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. That's been a big fight for him as well.
We'll have to see with this going on, this thing. But I will say that besides why he not making that weight against Duarte, whatever his name was.
Well, no, he made the weight. He just pulled out the last second. He pulled out the day of the fight.
He looked like he was shocked or something. But I mean, he's still something to reckon with, though. I'll be honest about that. I don't know if it was because he got sick or whatever the case was. But
this is his first fight at 147.
Yeah. Okay.
So like he was big. I remember seeing him in 2024 when he fought Lemos, and I was looking at him, I'm like, how the hell is he making 40? Big, wide shoulders, dense bones. Yeah. I'm like, this dude should not be at 40. And then he had a hard fight against Lemos that a lot of people didn't think he won. And I feel like for him, if he actually can punch, if he retains more strength and it becomes even a semi-threatening puncher at 47, that changes the whole game for him.
Do you and this is not playing favorites. Who do you like more? How should I say? Or do you like both of them? They're both from New York. Because I see Carrington today do the thing.
Who do I like more? Yeah. Like as a fighter?
Yeah.
As a fighter, I actually like Richard Hitchens more.
Yeah.
As a person, I like Bruce Carrington. How could you not love Bruce the person? You see Bruce is awesome. I get pissed off that he's in the featherweight division because I want to. It's nothing against him. Yeah. It's just anybody who's in Angelo's way. It's gotta be F y'all. But
doing his jump rope in the middle of New York.
But the guy with the higher ceiling who's better is definitely Hitchens. Yeah, for sure.
Has he been fighting more or less? They both fighting about the same time. Different division, but
I feel like Hitchens has had harder competition. Hitchens came up tough.
Yeah.
Hitchens had a similar career path to Angelo because he was a Mayweather Promotions fighter.
Okay.
Floyd made him a bunch of promises that he didn't keep. In his career, didn't necessarily get out to the smoothest of starts. It stagnated towards the middle. I remember Hitchens fought our boy Trayshawn Wiggins Hitchens fought Trayshawn Wiggins in like his 9th or 10th pro fight. He beat him, but he got dropped in that fight. Trayshawn Wiggins dropped him. Yeah, Trayshawn Wiggins dropped him. But that was like he took really good fights.
So it was like a young age at the time when he did that.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. J-Dub says that he feels that Bruce Carrington will have a phenomenal announcing career. He gives off boxing mascot vibes, respectfully. Nah, Bruce is very well spoken. I like Bruce, and I look forward to seeing, God willing, next year.
Even now, when you see him,
the unification fight.
Angelo, he still talks to you, and you guys vibe and everything. So yeah.
Man, I love his dad. Shout out to Senior. Let me see what else we got. So we talked a little about Hitchens. I kind of want to just bring that up because I saw that.
What's Berlanga gonna do with Zuffa? He gonna dominate?
We can talk Berlanga a little bit since
he ain't fight nobody.
He's fighting Stephen Butler. He's fighting a guy that he fought. So Stephen Butler's claim that was he fought Johnny Beck, one of Johnny Beck's first defenses.
Okay.
And Johnny Beck knocked him out like 2 rounds.
Holy
and
shit.
Stephen Butler was this Canadian prospect. Not really didn't do anything at the world level. I'm gonna tell you like this. If Edgar Berlanga I need to see the Edgar Berlanga of 20. No, I'm serious. I need to see the Edgar Berlanga of 2020 from the ESPN, from the COVID, from the first round. That guy needs to return this fight because they're serving you Stephen Butler up to do that.
Yeah.
You know, Hitchens is not even the main event. Hitchens is in the better fight, but it's not the main event.
Who is it, Berlanga?
Berlanga is the main event. So if they're giving you the main event slot over a guy that's actually won a world title, who's fighting a legit opponent, you better go out there and give them New York fans what they want to see, which is a knockout.
Expectation with Berlanga and Zuffa. He'll dominate Zuffa?
My expectation with Berlanga and Zuffa is they're probably so this is probably the first of 2 cupcakes they're gonna give him. They'll probably give him this guy who it should be a cupcake.
Yeah.
It needs to be a cupcake because Steven Butler is not on that level.
Right.
And then they'll probably find somebody even worse after this fight for Berlanga, right?
Jesus.
And then I actually think they're gonna probably feed him to one of these Russians.
Seriously?
They got
wow.
I think the weight classes are a bit different because he's a 68 pounder.
Oh, that's what I want to bring up. Zuffa's only gonna have so many weight classes. They're not gonna have.
Well, no, now they're bending the rules. Because listen.
Oh, shit.
Because in order for them to sign Berlanga or Hitchens, they had to bend the rules. Because Hitchens is a 47 pounder now.
Right.
But Berlanga is a 168 pounder. He's a super middleweight.
Right.
So they're gonna have to get. This ain't the UFC. You don't get to dictate everything.
I seen that. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be a problem for some of the fighters.
How do you feel? As a proud Boricua and someone that was Edgar Berlanga was doing this thing early on. He's a fan of yours. Like Edgar likes you. What are your thoughts on Edgar being a Zuffa boxing fighter?
I mean, he signed with obviously. He got a big check or whatever. He's doing his thing, but I want him to go in there and like you said, they're gonna throw him to feed him to whatever. And that's the crazy part about with the Zuffa thing. He can fight everybody there, and you could be just somebody when really you were a nobody. When you're a star knocking out people, but you didn't really carry that through with the real. I'm gonna say the real competition. I'm talking about with the sanctioning bodies, and then you go to Zuffa. So if we don't come to Zuffa, like you say, if you don't come to Zuffa and start knocking motherfuckers out, I don't know. What is there for him,
Yeah.
Because
Keith Conley, he's gonna look after me. Me and Pops, we got coffee yesterday. We were talking about all kinds of things, but we had a long conversation about boxing. And my dad has recently become a fan of the manager Keith Conley, who manages Berlanga, who manages Hitchens, who manages Tio, who manages Filip Hrgović. A lot of people don't like Keith Conley, Pops. A lot of people don't like him in the sport. He's polarizing. Why do you like Keith Conley?
He goes in there, and I'm not saying the other managers don't do that when they talk about the fighter.
Managers. Right?
I mean, managers, but he doesn't give a fuck. He just tells you, this motherfucker's going to come in here, and he's going to beat the shit out of your motherfucker. He could be motherfucking 10 times the lesser guy that he has on his side, but he's going to make it sound like his motherfucking peaches and cream. Yeah, so, and I like the way he sticks by him, because a few years back when he was with Berlanga, and I seen him in Florida, in New York, I didn't like him at all.
You saw Keith Conley in New York?
I was top ranked with Berlanga was his fighter with his dad.
Okay.
When we went to
Better BF Joe Smith?
Yeah. Yep. And I said, man, but now I was watching him when he talks and this and that. He's like, not just for him, for the other fighters, the same way.
Goes to war for them.
Yeah, and I like that about him. I don't care if I'm just better. I'm not better than sliced bread on butter and sliced bread. But you sit there, make me sound like good stuff and make it happen. Boom. I like that about him. I do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this about Keith. Keith is the only manager that I've seen get his fighters get criticized on social media for ducking, and you could ask him real specific questions, which I did. Because I recently, when Frank Sanchez knocked out, who was it? Richard Torres Jr. to become the IBF challenger. A lot of people was going off saying that Filip Hrgović ducked Frank Sanchez the eliminator. So I asked Keith really specific questions. Now he could be bullshitting. Maybe Hrgović did duck Frank Sanchez. It's up for interpretation. But he gave me like a really specific answer. So he's the first manager and the only manager I've seen do that. Peter Kahn don't do that. I like Peter Kahn. We're cool, but Peter Kahn don't do that. A lot of managers don't do that. So I respect his how he rides for his fighters. Boxing's a very dirty game. So to have a manager like that will ride for you, that has your best interest, that's trying to get you the most money, is great to see.
Doesn't the Croatian sensation, doesn't he have him on there?
Yeah.
And everything's turned out for him pretty good and everything. And so I mean, I like that. What do you think about Pacheco coming back fighting? Well,
that's a perfect segue, Pops, because we know Pacheco's fighting this weekend. Somebody up top had said that they feel like the best fight for Berlanga, right here. My man Joker's Wild said the best fight for Berlanga is Diego Pacheco. Now it's funny you mentioned that, because I remember I the one time I interviewed Keith in 2024 at the Hitchens Lemos fight, he said, and I quote, "Yeah, Diego Pacheco's a superstar. Edgar Berlanga's a superstar. We're all gonna go for Canelo. Because that was a fight I wanted to see back in 2024. I feel like that would have been a great fight. Mexican American,
So,
Puerto
are
Rican.
they just basing it?
I don't think Belal
just
could beat
because of
Pacheco.
Pacheco's last fight.
Everybody's stock, the stock on Diego Pacheco is at an all-time low. He hasn't lost yet, but he had the down performance against Kevin Lele-Sajo.
Mm-hmm.
He then had the Hamza Shiraz fight on the table. He did duck the fight. And then, he had that he went on that Mexican radio station in LA and was talking about how Mexicans, modern day Mexican fighters, are not as good as the Mexican Americans. The Mexican Americans don't get enough credit. And Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was overrated and da 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 da. He said a lot. And so, like, even the Mexican community is on Pacheco's neck right now, right?
The other fight that I want to talk about, keep talking about.
So Pacheco has a lot to prove. I still remain high on Pacheco. I've been saying since 2019, when I first 2018, 2019, when I first knew who he was, I think that he is the best matchroom boxing USA fighter, the best fighter from America that matchroom boxing is signed straight from the pros. I think he's gonna be a world champion. I still think he's gonna beat Hamza Shiraz, who, by the way, and we'll get to him in a second, he's in a witness protection program. He ain't fought a soul since Berlanga. And people don't even like to give him credit for Berlanga because a lot of people say Edgar Berlanga's not that good. But I think when you can say that Pacheco did duck Shiraz, and I'll give that to you. But when they do fight, when that time comes, the guy that's gonna get his hand raised is gonna be the guy from South Central LA, California. That is Diego Pacheco.
And we're watching. I guess he's training for whatever fight he's fighting that touch fight.
Emmanuel Alim.
Yeah, and he was saying in an episode that when he's training, he did call up, but then he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go. My goal is to get two tune-up fights, or whatever you want to call it, and then I want to fight the big name Shiraz or whoever else. I want to be a big name fight. So there, so we'll have to see what happens with him. What else?
BT, have you ever been to Dubai? I have not been to Dubai. I've not touched the Middle East. I think at some point I might go to Dubai. I know people out there in Dubai, to money area. One thing I've been telling myself that recently is that because I'm from South Florida. I don't come from the most money, but I've always had a lot of ambition. I've always thought big. I've always thought bigger than my actual circumstances. Big. And like Timur Blagomov says, dream big, do bigger. Dubai is a place I think I'm gonna go to, but the place I'm gonna tell you where I really want to go. One of my dream places I want to go to in the next 6 to 18 months is Saint-Tropez, France, the south of France, and the French Riviera. I want to go there. That place looks awesome. Yeah, I want to go there. So it's on the agenda. But no, I've never been to Dubai.
Are these guys really excited for that Conor Benn and Garcia fight? Like, I'm not really.
Y'all can answer in the chat. Are y'all excited for Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia?
I'm not really up for that fight. I don't even know why he took that fight.
They want to know what's my reasoning for Diego Pacheco above Hamza. Okay, well I'll tell you why. It's very simple. You look at, first of all, you look at both fighters' pedigree from the amateurs. Pacheco fought at a higher level as an amateur. Of course, that doesn't always mean that a fighter is better, but it can give you an idea what kind of foundation they have. That's number one. Number two, when you break them down from a stylistic standpoint, the biggest advantage Hamza has over everybody is his height and his reach. And guess what? If you fight Diego Pacheco, bad news, buddy. You're not going to have those kind of advantages. Pacheco's like 6'4", has about an 81-inch reach. And one thing about Pacheco, I've always felt he has this quality, but in a way, even though he looked better with Benavidez Sr., I think it conflicted with what actually makes him his best self, which is the fact that he's a very good when he sticks to his boxing and he just doesn't try to knock people out and he can stick to his boxing and he's not caught between two styles. Very good fighter. People forget that before he turned pro, Pacheco was simultaneously ranked the #1 USA and the #1 Mexican amateur at the same time in his weight class. Yeah. Every promoter in boxing wanted to sign him. Matchroom, PBC, Top Rank, everyone. Eddie got the signature for Pacheco. So he's. It kind of reminds you. I'll compare this fight to kind of like the way I felt about Tiger Johnson versus Nicholas Flaus going in is how I feel about this fight. Tiger Johnson was having performances going into that fight that weren't impressive. Yeah. Nicholas Flaus was having very impressive performances. So a lot of people felt, because based on recent fights that how they were performing, that Flaus was going to beat the shit out of Tiger Johnson. And that's not what happened. And I picked Tiger Johnson to win that fight because I felt like, you know what? The guy that fought at a higher level, the guy that I know, if he shows up anywhere close to his best, is going to win, was Tiger Johnson. And you see what happened. And I feel the same way here about this fight. Pacheco will outbox Hamza Shiraz. People will say like, oh, well, Hamza Shiraz, BT, he has Andy Lee in his corner. So what? He had Joseph Parker had Andy Lee in his corner when he bottled it against Fabio Wardley. Whatchamacallit? And I think now Diego's been kind of doing what I hate when fighters do when they start jumping from trainer to trainer like they start changing trainers, like they change clothes.
Yeah.
Diego's, but I think he's found the right guy for his strengths.
Right here.
The right guy, and that guy being Buddy McGirt, a guy that teaches fighters how to stay disciplined behind their jab, being long, being professional, knows the inside tricks of the mid range and the inside. He's going to give Diego Pacheco dimensions he's never had in his career. And I feel like as long as he just listen to Buddy McGirt and don't let people get in his ear and steer him away from Buddy McGirt, he will be more than fine.
Yeah, I mean, you learn. What about this? The Zoo? You think Zoo's gonna do something to Spence? Or do you care about the fight?
Do I care about it? And by the way, shout out to our good friend Kira. Shout out to Kira in the chat. Hope all is well, Kira. God bless Kira. But what was the question? I'm sorry.
What do you think about this fight with Spence and
Tim Zoo?
Yeah, like Zoo was looking at him like he wanted to fuck him up. Like he's got this thing. Do you think that like Spence says, I don't need to have tune-up fights. I'm not entitled to that. I don't need to do that.
I love the mentality from Spence. He hasn't boxed in 3 years, so it's hard to really quantify what he is at this point. Say, like, I'll be honest. I don't have no prediction for that fight. I'm just gonna watch the fight,
and we're gonna say what you always say. Like if you could say all this stuff, and you're a special fighter, you're good at this and that, but you always say the only word that I hate what you say, but it usually comes up the fact is the inactivity. It shows up in the ring, and that's not saying
it's only
that's not degrading Spence. I'm just saying that he hasn't been active, and he says the reason. What he did say in the interview was that the reason he don't take a lot of tune-ups because he's afraid he's going to re-injure his eye or do stuff. That's why he'd rather just go in there and take a chance and go ahead and just take the fight. Do you think Zoo stands a chance? Or you say
of course, they're fighting. Tim Zoo. I don't know what it is in Australia. I don't know if they, I don't know if it's the water. I don't know if they let Tim Zoo take some special sauce when he's there. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But history has shown when he fights in Australia, he's different. Like I think back to the fight against Tony Harrison, how he's pinging Tony. He was pinging Tony Harrison's head left and right.
Yeah.
I think back to the Brian Mendoza fight when he fought Mendoza coming off the biggest win of his career against Pandora, and he beat Brian Mendoza in good fashion. It's different when he fights there in Australia.
But to flip the other coin, Spence came out and said, like, I could have had this fight if I wanted to. It was up to me to have it in Dallas or where I wanted. But I'm used to going.
That's bullshit. I don't believe that. You said bullshit. That's bullshit. PBC, just like Top Rank, they don't have a lot of dates like they used to. They've been outsourcing their guys. They're guys that they don't really like. I'll say, the guys they don't really care about.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole card, Spence, Fulton, Charlo. That's like the old era PBC.
Right.
They shipping all them guys to Australia. They're all fighting on that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't think it was because he chose to go travel like he did?
No.
When he went to fight Brooks.
No, because when he fought Kell Brook, I remember when I covered the Chris Algieri Errol Spence fight, he was calling him out back then. Errol Spence was young. He had momentum back then. Momentum's a real thing in boxing.
Yeah.
Like not just in the ring, but like commercially.
Right.
You know how people are. Like it's out of sight, out of mind. If they don't see you for even 5 or 6 months, it's people start forgetting about you.
Yeah.
And we ain't seen Earl for 3 years.
Yeah.
So of course he has his core fan base that's gonna always support him.
Yeah.
But really, it's not enough for PBC to take the financial risk and say, you know what, let's go do a fight in Dallas.
Oh, because you don't have the money.
Because he hasn't fought in 3 years. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why he's going to Australia. Okay. Now, if he beats Tim Zoo, now it's a different story. Now I feel like you could say, you know what, and this is what I'm scared of. I'm frightened to death of this. Now they can say, okay, Errol, you beat Tim Zoo. Let's do a Sebastian Fedora fight in Texas.
Holy shit.
Or California. Because I feel like if he beats, and this is why I want Tim Zoo to beat Errol Spence, because, I spent all these years, here on this channel complaining about how Jaron Ennis couldn't get the big fights.
Yeah.
Jaron Ennis is now on the driver's seat of the 154 division, and Errol Spence might come take one of his fights from him. Yeah. Because I feel like if he beats Zoo, he's going to get the Fundora fight. I think what do you guys think?
I was watching, I don't know if I seen something, who Ennis is fighting next. I don't even know who the guy he's going to fight or something. There was something on social media that I seen. Like you said, don't believe everything you see.
Boots doesn't have anything lined up.
Not yet?
No. Okay. But Fundora is supposed to fight. We commentated this fight 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember that Albanian guy, the sniper?
Yeah.
Hermage? Yeah. He's now Fundora's mandatory.
Wow.
And That's going to be from Dura's next fight. And then Josh Kelly, I was thinking that Josh Kelly was going to do no, absolutely not. I thought he was going to do a voluntary defense at the soccer stadium in his hometown.
No.
But they just announced him to fight on this trash ass card they announced today.
Yo, I was looking at that, and I'm sorry. I always say I'm a veteran that I can remember anything, but the only names I can remember are the ones that are legit in boxing. They're fighting all these weak fighters. And,
who?
And that card that you're talking about.
I'm gonna put it on the screen here. I'm gonna put it on the screen.
I was like, holy shit! All I know is the fighters that I'm commenting. I don't know any of that. Like, you should, if you're Zuffa, right? And you want to bring?
Well, that's not Zuffa. That's like Saudi Arabia.
Okay,
that's like Riyadh, and all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. You want to put the good fights on. I don't know what's happening. I mean, to have all this money and this and that and putting fights like that, and no discredit to the fighters, but I'm like, man, if I'm a betting man, I'm picking all the favorites.
As you should. You know what? Let's pull that card up because. And y'all can let me know what y'all think about the whole, Tim Zoo, Earl Spence.
But I thought Al Heyman and them signed with the zone and everything now. They became partners.
Huh?
They all become partners now? They all became partners, the zone, Matchroom, and all that.
All the major 4 promoters are all under the zone now.
So, okay.
But technically, if you really think about it, Turkey kind of has a little control of everything. Okay. Because, Turkey owns part of the zone. Yeah. Turkey puts money into Zuffa boxing. Yeah. Turkey, that's what it is. But anyway, what was looking up? Oh, yeah, that card. I want to look that card up. I'm trying my best to not be like a miserable person in boxing because I feel like we have just so many miserable people in the sport these days. But you got to call a spade a spade. I'm going to pull it up right now. This card that I think is announced today. So Anthony Joshua is fighting this guy named Christian Prenga. It's a little tune-up fight because AJ ain't fought in a while. And I think it's a nothing fight because Tyson Fury and AJ both have already signed a contract to fight each other. Right. Like AJ pretty much said like Tyson Fury can get in the ring after this fight and they can go face to face after he wins this fight against Christian Prenga. But I didn't have no strong feelings towards the AJ fight. But when I saw this undercard, oh my God. When people tell me, all you Turkey advocates out there talking about at least to give him the fights, So Hamza Shiraz is fighting Simon Zauchenhuber.
Who's he?
Never heard of him. Now, it doesn't mean he's bad or anything like that. But y'all are turning Hamza Shiraz into this killer when all he's done since getting a gift against Adames is beat a guy that a lot of you guys say isn't that good to begin with Berlanga. He fought that guy last time for the title, and now he's fighting this guy. So, and then people say, oh, well, Hamza didn't fight he didn't fight anybody because Pacheco ducked him. And like last time I checked, Diego Pacheco had only 168-pounder out there. You got Billy, you got Luis Iglesias, you got Jacob Bank. Yeah. This guy, Jacob Bank, you probably know who Jacob Bank is, but Jacob Bank is this fighter from he's from like Latvia or somewhere. Right. He just fought remember William Skull? The Cuban that Canelo fought? This guy knocked out William Skull. He did what Canelo couldn't do, and they put Jacob Bank on the undercard. So people are like, why didn't you just put Jacob Bank versus Shiraz? He's ranked. Right. He has a win over a former world champion. That would have made sense. Another thing I hate about this card, Pops, is right here. So you got one of the brightest.
I was going to ask you about that. Is this the guy you're talking about that Puerto Rican avoided? Was it him?
No.
I'm going to get collage. No.
No. Okay. He's a featherweight. He's an Angel's weight class. Okay. So Reito Tsutsumi is one of the brightest. He I don't think he's the best young fighter from Japan. Yeah. But he is the guy. Yeah. He is the guy that I would say probably, if you ask most people in the boxing industry which Japanese fighter has the highest skill level, he'd probably be one of the first names out of most people's mouth. Wow. Reito Tsutsumi. Now he's not taking the normal approach of most Japanese fighters. He signed a contract with Turkey right from the amateurs. Yeah. He won a gold medal in the world in the youth world championships. He's very good. His brother Hayato Tsutsumi is actually fighting in like 4 or 5 hours from now. He's one of the top 130-pound fighters.
Yeah, you tell me that.
But Reito hasn't fought in Japan yet. He's like, this is gonna be a 6th fight. He hasn't fought in Japan yet. And Turkey keeps burying him deep on these Saudi cards. So, he's winning. He's looking good. He's doing his thing. But he's not really getting the shine that he should get because he's way beneath on these cards. And then he's not even fighting in his home market. So, it's just so many things about this card. I mean, it's good that a lot of these guys are getting an opportunity. Yeah. Shout out to all the fighters on the card. Maybe somebody emerges from all this and proves to be someone better than we could have ever imagined. But more likely than not, this is probably going to be a very trash card. We won't watch it.
Yeah, no.
We'll see what happens.
I just I've seen the names. I'm like, damn.
You gotta remember, like the reason why I'm so, I guess you could say, harsh about this card.
Yeah.
And I don't really talk much about Turkey because I feel like I made my point about how I feel about Turkey. I beat it into the ground like a dead horse. But every now and then, when we see some nonsense like this, I gotta tell y'all, like
I was looking at them, I thought it was exciting because we've seen through the years, brother. We've been through some sleepers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about?
There you guys for the correction. That's correct. Jacob Begg is from Denmark. I knew it was one of those countries with the red flag. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you what else. What's next for Zayas now?
For Xander Zayas?
160.
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought, Pops, because MEZBX is giving me some good sound advice here. He's saying that blame the WBO president for Hamza's opponent. Look at his tweets. Let's go do that.
Oh, wow.
Let's go do that. Let's go look at the WBO president's tweet, because a lot of y'all are saying that Hamza Shiraz is this killer, right? And I know someone said, BT, nobody's saying Hamza's a killer. Yes, they are. Every time I mention Diego Pacheco, Hamza Shiraz, everyone's acting like Hamza Shiraz is Thomas fucking Hitman Hearns. He's not Thomas Hitman Hearns.
He hasn't fought since he got the belt.
No, he's fought, but he just hasn't fought. He hasn't fought a soul. Like he hasn't fought a soul to get all the hype. You know, I'll get to the tweet here in a second. But Pops, a couple of these fighters. There's a handful of fighters that have these Ring Magazine brand ambassador deals.
Yeah, okay. And, you talked about that, yeah.
And I didn't really realize what those things entailed until the day that Angel's fight got canceled against Rayo Salim.
Yeah.
We made a friend in the boxing social media space, and they sat me down and they gave me and Angel the rundown of what that entails for the fighters. Wow. And basically what we were told by a very prominent person is that Ring Magazine, if you sign one of those brand ambassador deals with Ring Magazine, not advertise, they basically just push propaganda about you. So that's why for all you guys out there, if you guys are wondering why you go on your phone so much and you keep seeing Bruce Carrington and Hamza Shiraz pushed down your throat, nothing against them. I like both of them, but that's why they had those deals signed with them. So I feel like a lot of these fighters that have these Ring Magazine brand ambassador deals, the perception on them is way higher than it should be based on what they accomplish in the ring. But that's my opinion. So getting to Gustavo Olivieri's tweets, I want to see what the hell, what was he saying about Hamza Shiraz? Let me see.
Probably say he probably.
Oh, here we go. So here's a tweet. So my man Chilltown Boxing, shout out to Chilltown Boxing. He's a good guy on Twitter. I've interacted with him a couple of times on the Twitter space. He said, we can't say belts matter. We can't say the belts matter and then make fights that don't make the belts matter. Shiraz versus Zackenhuber is beyond negligent. It's atrocious. The guy just lost a 6-rounder to a UK club fighter a few months ago. What are you doing, Gustavo Olivieri? I thought the WBO was serious. Gustavo Olivieri then said, sir, Shiraz is entitled to discharge a voluntary defense according to the WBO rules. Shiraz selected Zackenhuber, who currently holds a pro record of 29-1 with 18 KOs. Furthermore, the latter satisfied the basic criteria for the world rating consideration. See the ABC criteria for the ratings. So, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, and I didn't really care enough about Hamza's last fight to even pay attention. But that guy he fought, Alan Begich, or what the hell that guy's name was that guy his mandatory? Because I'll tell you this: if they made that guy his mandatory, and then Hamza got a lot of pick this guy coming off that mandatory, then the WBO is a disgrace. And I'm gonna say the WBO, I'm gonna bump them a notch down. Like they're not quite WBC or WBA level corruption, but they're teetering closer. They're getting away from the IBF and they're starting to teeter closer to the WBA and WBC. That's ridiculous. Because the only reason that this could be passed off as a voluntary is if the last guy was mandatory. Yeah. And if the last guy was mandatory, then that's a disgrace. Did you see the last guy Hamza fought to win the title? It was so forgettable you probably didn't even see it. You know?
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. What do you guys think?
Well, they're gonna have to eventually push him to fight somebody. You can't have the belt sitting there.
Now look, I'm gonna tell you guys this. Speaking as somebody, I'm gonna speak more from like the standpoint of, you know, the fighters and management and being on a team. When you get a voluntary defense, I hate to break it to you guys. When you get a voluntary defense as a fighter, it is not your job to pick the hardest fight out there. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I know a lot of you guys like, oh well, the fighters got to give the fans the fights they want to see. Listen, voluntaries are not supposed to be hard fights. You're supposed to pick fights that make your fighter look the best humanly possible and build the value up. So I'm not against him picking whoever he feels was the easiest guy in the top 15, right? I'm not, but like 2 back to back, that's too much.
So voluntary, mandatory, is 2 different things.
Yeah, mandatory. So every mandatory, you're supposed to fight your mandatory challenger within 9. Well, it depends on the sanctioning body. Yeah. Sometimes for some sanctioning bodies, it's 9 months. Sometimes it's a year. But roughly, it's 9 to 12 months. Whenever somebody becomes a mandatory in your weight class, you're supposed to fight them within 9 to 12 months of that date that they fought and became mandatory, right?
Voluntary, whoever.
Now, voluntary, you get a voluntary in the intermediate time if you can't get a unification fight. You understand?
Yeah.
And the fighters that are smart, that are good, that have long defenses, when they get the voluntaries, they don't pick the hardest guy.
No.
You know who does voluntaries very good, and I gotta give him credit. You know who does voluntaries like really good? Rafael Espinosa does it amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody he's fought for voluntary was the perfect guy to pick.
Wow.
And as a byproduct of that, what's happened? He's gotten knockouts. People think he's made money. People think he's a killer at 126, and they think he's better than he actually is. They're perfect.
And now he's singing.
So there's a way to go about these things, but yeah, that's too much. MEZBX says, BT, you're pumping that bullshit WBO IBF convention and get the fuck out of here. How am I pumping it? All I do is make a video about it and let you guys know that it was happening. And that I'll be there. I wasn't pumping it. I'm not paying for the damn convention. I'm not gonna get a hotel room at the Kerry Royale and stay there and give Gustavo Olivieri and Daryl Peoples my money. You understand? I wasn't pumping it. I was doing my job covering the sport of boxing. But if you say so. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't gotta pick a killer. I'm not saying you gotta pick a killer. But pick somebody that's at least gonna come to win.
Yeah.
Pick someone decent, And Aleem wasn't a mandatory. He was the next available for the title. No. He was a mandatory. Don't please don't even say his name. Let's not go down this path because Angelo was supposed to fight Larato Dimiani in his first ever voluntary defense. He's like the only champion in boxing that's been a 2-time world champion with no voluntaries. He's supposed to get his first voluntary in New Mexico in front of the great fans of Albuquerque. It got blocked because the IBF stepped in and said, nope, you got to fight Rayo Salim because it's too close to your mandatory date. He whatever, he won the eliminator. So then he was forced to fight Rayo Salim. And then Rayo Salim wasted our time and wasn't professional and missed weight by 3 pounds. So it is what it is. Yeah. And, his the year has been what it's been for him. But let's not talk about that. I get PTSD anytime I hear that guy's name. J-Dub says Shiraz versus Vegas was for the vacant belt. This guy is Shiraz's first defense. No excuses though. Okay, well, my thing is, if Begic was the number 2 contender and they did it for the belt, why was he ranked that high? Yeah. Why was he ranked that high? I understand sanctioning bodies, they have regional titles, they have things like that can give guys a higher standing, but that guy had a terrible resume. Yeah. He had done nothing to be anywhere close to a title shot, and they gave it to him. So I'll leave it at that. Pop, you seem tired. You want to get out of here?
Yeah, I got to get out anyway. My daughter wakes up.
Pops is tired. He's going to get some rest.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Please support the channel. Keep listening to my crazy comments. Like them, don't like them. I appreciate y'all, and God bless.
There you go. All right. So there you have it. Y'all done got 40, 50 minutes of Pops.
Yeah.
We still here, and I'm still wide awake, guys. We're already an hour and a half in. So get your comments in. Definitely hit the subscribe button, super chat, all that good stuff we hear. It's the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. It is everybody's favorite boxing late night program. True School After Dark. Got our coffee. We here. Just enjoying our time before we go on the road here when Hitchens and Valengo fight. Then God knows when we return home. So I'm really cherishing this time at home because it's gonna be a long time away from home. Probably the longest. It's probably gonna be the longest time away from just being on the road ever when I leave. So anyway, I'm so tired of that. Yes, he was the opponent because Pacheco ducked the fight. Is Diego Pacheco the only fighter at 168 pounds? They couldn't have, you mean to seriously tell me they couldn't have found somebody more competent than Diego Pacheco? I give that to you. Pacheco ducked the fight. I'm not defending Diego. He deserves criticism for that. But I don't want that's bullshit. Like there was a least deserving world title challenger than Alan Begic, you know? And yes, indeed. Like I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what's going to come of that of the unified convention. You know, I've been to in my almost 11 years covering boxing. I've been to 3 conventions. This will be my 4th. I've been to 1 WBC convention and 2 WBA conventions. This will be my 4th. I've never ever. It'll be fun for me because the IBF people are the only people I haven't really met. You know, I've met Olivieri and Paco Vargas from the WBO. I've met Gilberto Mendoza. I've met Suleiman. Never met Daryl Peoples. Never met the IBF people. So it'll be really intriguing to see what they're like and see how this plays out and see if this actually creates a better pathway to making more unifications fights happen. Because if not, if these sanctioning bodies keep playing their tacky games, then Zuffa Boxing is gonna snatch everybody up and put them out of business. So they better get it together and get the fans the fights they want to see when they want to see them. Otherwise, it's gonna be a long it's gonna be a very sad time for the sanctioning bodies. Where am I going? Shit, where am I not going? So to give you the itinerary, so there's a fight in New York City on July 26th. I'll probably be there a couple days before. So New York City first. Then after New York City, from New York City, Las Vegas, Nevada for Lamont Roach, Williams Peta. From there, probably gonna go to California, the Bay Area, and LA for some business. That'll probably take about 7 to 10 days of my time. By the time that's done, I gotta pivot back, come back to Vegas, cover the Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero fight. And Kira, I know you don't know these fighters, but I'm saying the fights so the audience knows who they are. Gotta come cover that fight. Then after that fight is done, I'm gonna fly from New York or from Vegas back to New York for like a day. And then from New York, I'm gonna fly to London, England for Mosey, Tama, Philip Hurley-Rich on August 29th. I'll probably fly back to the States September 1st or 2nd. And then from there, if Angelo Leo is fighting by then, I'll go to his fight. God willing, it's before the 21st because I want to be in Japan before the September 21st for Jin Suzuki's fight. And then once I get to Japan, I'm going to stay there the full 90 days. And then if I go there by September 21st, I should be back by Christmas. So that's the itinerary. That's what we're looking to do. Really make a mark in the boxing game and give the great people of YouTube and the boxing community great content and enjoy what I'm doing. So that's what it is. They said, I don't think it would have been fair to pass over someone who worked his way up. I'll give the WBO credit for not going with a flashier name. You're seeing what's happening to Jadier Herrera with the 135 of the ABC. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's many ways to look at it. I just think for me, see, I'm speaking from the standpoint of somebody who, when Hamza knocked out Berlanga, I feel like everyone kept telling me he was a killer, and I think he's good. I'm not saying he's not an awesome fighter. I like Hamza, but the Adames fight is still sharp in my memory. I don't have a short memory when it comes to boxing, or anything really. I have a long memory with everything in life. So I still think there's some questions that gotta be answered from his side of things, but he is trending in the right direction. He's a good fighter, can punch. Got a great coach, Andy Lee, in his corner. And yeah, we'll see what happens if he goes. If he wins this fight and then he goes to the next fight, let's say he fights Pacheco or an Iglesias, then you can't really complain, But for right now, it's a bad look. Kira says, hell yeah, lots of exciting plans. I gotcha. Damn, you're gonna be so busy. I'm proud of you. Yeah. You know how hard I work. So, really, really exciting times. I worked a long time for myself to have these kind of opportunities, and I'm not taking it for granted. That's one thing about it. One thing about just this boxing thing in life, I'm not taking anything for granted. I've just been through a lot of shit the last 2 years. So, Every opportunity we get, we're taking it and we're doing our best. And hopefully you guys are doing the same in your own lives, because life is but this short. You only get but this much time to do anything significant and meaningful while you're here. So make sure you try to put your best foot forward every day. But let me see. Do you know if the Japan fans resent Raito for not fighting in Japan? I haven't seen anything, right? Hopefully not. That's a good question. I haven't really I haven't had anybody from Japan talk about that yet. Maybe when I go to Japan next, that could be a question that we have for the Japanese fans, and I could let you guys know better there. But thus far, throughout my boxing coverage of Japanese boxing, I have not heard anything bad about Raito Tsutsumi not fighting in Japan. So, yeah. And E-Strat says, hey, BT. And I believe that's Eric. Is that Eric Stratton from Twitter? Shout out to my boy Eric. That's you. Shout out to you for all the support. He says, hey, BT. This is a random question, but I remember your interview with legendary trainer Don Turner when he was working with Kovalev. Have you seen or heard from him since? I have not seen Don Turner since. I asked around about him one time, and I was told that he lives somewhere in the South. I think I heard like North Carolina or South Carolina or somewhere like that. But he hasn't really been seen too much since that second Kovalev fight. So I don't know. I hope Don Turner as well. I'll love to talk to him again. He's a great boxer of mine, and obviously that interview. It's crazy. That interview was almost 10 years ago, and people are still talking about that interview. So that's definitely one of the true school classics. So shout out to Don Turner. Yeah, maybe I gotta go track him down. See what's up with him. Oh, and this is a good segue. So, Dog says, what if Vaquero beats O'Shaquie Foster? Would you still want to see the Shakur fight? Of course not, because, that would obviously hurt Shock Foster's stock. But, Shakur did say he'd fight Shock Foster. So, it's a matter of principle. I'll tell you this. I know Navarrete lost at 135 to Dennis Baranchik. I wouldn't mind seeing Shakur versus Navarrete if he beats Shock Foster. How about that? Because I've always felt like to beat Shakur Stevenson, one of the qualities you got to have is either A, you got to be able to box from the outside, or B, you got to be very unorthodox with and I feel like Vaquero has that. So I always thought that would have been an interesting fight. But I doubt it happens. I doubt that it becomes a thing. And by the way, guys, bad news. I got some bad news for you guys. And I'm going to touch on this real briefly because it's the perfect segue, because I had it right here in my talking points. Top Rank Boxing, Carl Moretti. Shout out to Carl Moretti. I just had a chance to interview Carl Moretti when I was out there in Cleveland. Great guy, very gracious with his time. So I appreciate him. Obviously, a big mover and shaker behind the scenes in the fight game. So it was great to finally get him on the channel. But anyway, it was reported today from Dan Rayfield, the ESPN writer, longtime writer. He said, and I quote, per Top Rank Boxing, Vice President Carl Moretti on the reports of advanced negotiations for a unification fight between Navarrete and Foster, there are no significant discussions. He added that they are exploring all options, including mandatory obligations. So there you go. So if that is the case, and we're not going to get Navarrete versus Foster next, which would be really ridiculous because Navarrete's been champion long enough. Foster's been champion long enough. Foster wants to go to lightweight. He wants to move up in weight. If we can't get that fight next, it'll be very, very disappointing because it makes more sense now than it's ever made. Both guys are names in the division. Both guys are the consensus number 1 and 2 in the division. Shock Foster is not going to stay at 130 pounds. He's already said it. He said it in my interview with him when I interviewed him in New York City. And in every other interview when he was talking to the media that day, he's not going to stay at 130 pounds. He wants to go to 35. There's 2 bigger fights up there. But this is the fight that he wants to solidify himself as the man of the division. So we know what he's going to do if he can't get the Navarrete fight. Now, for Navarrete, obviously, there's a big fight, a fight that he needs to go revisit with Charlie Suarez. A lot of people feel like Charlie Suarez got screwed in their fight and that he was beating Navarrete and was screwed out of a career-defining win. So, obviously, he's worked his way back to the mandatory position. They can fight. But, yeah, it would be a terrible look, in my opinion, if they don't fight next. But that's what's going on. Top rank, call them ready. They shutting down the negotiation rumors because all we've been hearing throughout the media was that they're in advanced talks. Even though Shockey Foster said it in my interview that they're talking right now, but Colin already says they're not talking. So someone's lying. I don't know who's lying, but someone is. Somebody said, forget boxing, let's talk women. Absolutely not. I mean, we've done that quite a few times here, but we don't force those talks. They happen organically. Much like love, much like relationships. You can't force those things. They gotta happen organically, champ. You can't just come out and start talking crazy. They happen organically. LOL. Yeah, this is not a relationship channel. Yeah. Yeah, as far as Charlie Suarez, if he gets the Navarrete fight next, I'm happy for him. I thought he should have got it already, but it hasn't happened. So I mean, on one hand, I am mad about it. On the other hand, it's like bittersweet. I'm happy for Suarez, very upset for Foster because Foster's done enough to be in that kind of fight. I really feel like that's one of them fights where the winner of that fight could be fighter of the year. Whoever, if Foster and Navarrete were to fight next, in my mind, the winner of that fight would be my front runner for fighter of the year. Because if you're talking about from the Navarrete side of things, that'd be Sugar Nunez and Foster on his resume. If Foster wins, you're talking about Raymond Ford and Navarrete in your resume. That's pretty damn good. I don't really see too many fighters right now in boxing I could say have comparable body of work this year. Good for you. Take back control. Exactly. You got to enjoy what you're doing. 1,000%. I have to bounce. Y'all ain't about to get me caught up near what. Yeah. We got people here. That got the girlfriends and the wives sitting next to me. Y'all trying to get me to talk crazy and get them in trouble. I'm just here for the boxing. I'm here to talk boxing. Y'all want to ask me some bullshit like Michelle Phelps and no, we're not doing that, champ. Save that for other places. Yeah, Osiris. Osiris knows. Cyrus knows. We'll get to that when we get to it, but we're not about to force it, We're not about to be out here forcing things, Bro, you had a hilarious tweet. I saw your tweet, what was it, yesterday? You had a hilarious tweet talking about you flew a girl from Kansas to come see you or something like that. I forgot the exact tweet, but I was laughing yesterday at it. That was pretty funny. Somebody had asked me, do I think that Anthony Kakachi is going to fight Oshaki Foster? No. Oshaki Foster had already revealed in our interview that, that Kakachi's scary. He doesn't want to fight him. And it checks out because Kakachi is a good fighter, but he's been beating them guys in the UK, them washed up guys like Josh Warrington and Lee Wood and them kind of guys. He hasn't wanted to fight none of the Mexicans. He hasn't wanted to fight none of the Americans. And, that holds the script. He don't want to fight Foster. He didn't want to fight Sugar Nunez. So I don't think Kakachi is going to fight anybody unless it's like a fortune. If you want Kakachi to fight like a big name, whether it be Navarrete or Foster, you're gonna have to pay him big bank, like life-changing money. I'm talking about 2.5 million plus. If it's not 2.5 million plus, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna suffice. Yeah, sometimes you gotta delete posts. I've said crazy things on social media. I've had to delete many times, so I hear you. Let me see what else we got. Let me see what are the talking points do I have? I don't ran through. Let me see what have I not talked about in boxing? I talked about Devin. I talked about Pacheco. I talked about Tsutsumi. I talked about. I pretty much talked about damn near everything. I mean, I guess one thing I didn't talk about, and I guess I'll just touch on it briefly because I do have it here. Or is it? It was right here, man. Dana White The UFC keeps doing this. They keep doing it over and over and over again. They had Shakur Stevenson, and I'm gonna pull this up on Twitter. They had Shakur Stevenson, sitting there at the UFC card, and they said this man looked like some Jalen Williams. They had him sitting there at the UFC at the Conor McGregor fight, and they put up the graphic of his name, and it was supposed to say Shakur Stevenson, world champion boxer, a Zuffa boxing signing, something like that. There was supposed to at bare minimum say, something about his name. And not only did they get it wrong, they confused him with an NBA player. They said he was what was the guy's name from the Thunder? Jalen Williams. They said he was Jalen Williams, and I got it right here. Look at this nonsense. They keep doing this stuff over and over again, and I feel like the UFC production team keeps doing it on purpose to get engagement because people are talking about it. Dana White's complaining about it. It's like a thing. So here it is, right here. Shakur Stevenson. The least they could have did. The least they could have did for Shakur Stevenson was at least confuse him with a superstar. If they would have put like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that would have been cool. That because at least Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is like an MVP. You put Jalen Williams there. I'm a casual basketball fan these days, so I'm not sure if Jalen Williams is an all-star. Maybe he is, but like in my mind, he's a role player. Because the only guy I know on the Thunder that's really like the top guy is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But either way, they did this shit like 2 years ago with Terrence Crawford. They said Terrence Crawford was Kendrick Lamar. They put Kendrick Lamar. They said he was Kendrick Lamar. So I don't know. I guess the UFC production team, every time there's some black people sitting ringside, they start thinking that their NBA players are rappers, which it's low-key kind of racist. But Dana White lost it. Dana White was irate. He's like, yeah, I paid Shakur Stevenson a shit ton of money and they got it wrong, and he was all mad and whatnot. But maybe the UFC, maybe they need some black people on the production team that could tell you the difference between rappers and basketball players, because apparently every boxer that sits ringside for a UFC event is a basketball or a player or a rapper, according to the UFC production team. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. How are they going to confuse Shakur with a basketball player? Shakur Stevenson's barely taller than me, and I'm not tall. So it's a sign of the times, man. These production teams, they don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, I pretty much done ran through everything I needed to talk about. The Devin Haney stuff, the Rayo stuff, all that stuff. So look, I don't got a set time. We're almost 2 hours in. I'm gonna probably stay here for like 20 or 30 more minutes. But y'all could ask whatever y'all want. Now is that part of the live. Now is the anything goes part of the live, and y'all can go ahead and ask whatever you want, boxing and or non-box related. It's 1:49 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not gonna be live till Wednesday night again. There's not gonna be a live tomorrow, but I will be live Wednesday night. So make sure y'all stay tuned for the Wednesday night live, and then I'll be live Friday night, and then I'll probably be live after the Pacheco fight. So I'll be live 3 more times this week. But yeah, get your questions in. Was I mad about the Conor McGregor fight? No, not really. I was. What was I doing during the fight? I think I was watching the Marlins. I didn't even watch the fight. I was watching the Marlins, and I think I was watching the World Cup. I think I was watching Argentina in the World Cup, and I was watching the Marlins. I didn't care. Guys, I don't care about MMA. Like, I don't. But I saw the highlights. I feel bad for the MMA fans and the UFC fans that were cheated out of their hard-earned money. But I mean, that's every day in boxing. Cyrus says, yo, so I finally got up with Carmine on the phone, and he told me he got up with y'all at the fight. So he sent pictures. That was super cool. Oh, yeah, that was your boy, the Mexican guy. Yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah, he met Angelo, took a picture with Angelo, met me, took a picture of me, I think, and yeah, good dude. So next time, hopefully you're there, champ. Looking forward to meeting you. J-Dub says, BT, build your perfect fighter, but only fighters before 2010. So Roman Gonzalez turned pro before 2010, so I'm going to use him. So For balance, I'm gonna use Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito. Floyd for defense, Floyd Mayweather. For punching power, I will use who will I use for punching power? Oh, for punching power, I'm gonna use Randall Bailey. Randall Bailey used to sit shit down. He was punching through the target. I'll use him. For speed, I'm gonna use Manny Pacquiao. And then like personality, like mentality, like mindset wise, I already used Floyd for defense, so I won't use the same person twice. I use Bernard Hopkins. I feel like Bernard Hopkins had a very strong mentality in boxing. Huh. That shit happens at boxing fights, and it pisses me off because Neon, with all due respect to the Indians, I'm not Indian. I don't. That's not me. I'm, Neon. No homo. Like Neon. I look way better than Neon. Like I'm a handsome guy, you know, and I'm older than Neon. So I hate that. I hate when people like say I'm Neon. Or I'll never forget this shit. I remember I was in Arizona covering Oscar Valdez versus Liam Wilson back in 2024, and like these like 4 or 5 kids, like little teeny boppers, little 13-year-old kids, they came up to me and they're like, "Do you know who you look like?" And I'm like, "Let me guess, you're gonna say Neon." Like, "Yeah, you look like Neon." I'm like, "Of course, of course." How does it feel being famous, and how does it feel being famous and all the girls asking for an autograph? I'm not. I mean, I don't consider myself famous. I'm not famous. Um, I'm getting recognized more, but I don't consider myself famous. And no girl has asked for my autograph yet. Only guys. I've only had 2 people ask for my autograph so far, and they've both been guys. So we're not there yet. You're not really famous until the girls ask for your autograph, and when the girl starts super chatting me $100, then I know I'm famous. But I'm not I'm not there yet. Reverse Lee says, "Yo, champ, that Punk McGregor scammed the fuck out of the world on Saturday. Not me. He didn't scam me because I don't watch MMA. I don't I don't watch MMA. I was watching the World Cup, so he got you guys." We working towards it, champ. We working towards it. You know. A trainer, right? One of the trainers down in South Florida. Shout out to my guy, Coach Jeff Ports from Beta Bay Boxing. He had one of the best lines of all time, and it's true, because like, in the like he would tell me these stories about going to the clubs in South Florida and how like you could be a fighter who's top 5 pound for pound, lineal champion, all this stuff, and in Miami, in Florida, the women won't care about you. They don't give a fuck about you. But like you could be the long snapper, you could be the punter for the Miami Dolphins, and they go crazy over you just because you're an NFL player, right? And he used to always say, and these are his exact words. He used to say, and I quote, "Bitches don't give a fuck about boxing," and I think it's very applicable. Of course, there's female boxing fans, but he was speaking to the greater general public. Boxing is not that mainstream of a sport unless you're like a Canelo or like a super duper megastar or like a Ryan Garcia. They're not gonna know you, and I'm no different. He says, being popular in boxing is like having a really fast car. Only dudes will call it. Correct. Very, very correct. Would you like Neon if he does a stream with Angelo? It helps true school sports grow too. I don't got nothing against Neon. I just don't think I look like him. I don't think I look like him. I'm not an Indian, you know. I respect people in the streaming community. I've already one thing you guys know. I've already been on a streamer, and me and Angela were already on a stream. It just wasn't with somebody as famous as Neon. But she's getting really famous though. She's starting to get really famous. There's a girl named Malik. Go on Instagram and look up Malik04, Malek04. She's got like 31,000 followers on Instagram now, I think, and she got about 42,000 on Twitch. But like when I met her, she had like we met her in late May down in Miami when we were down there for swimsuit week, and um, she had like 17,000 followers on Instagram, and now she's getting pretty popular. She just got accepted into streaming university, so we'll probably be on some more streams of her. We did a whole stream on her Twitch page with Angelo training in the gym. Did a whole training session. I was in there. Angelo was in there. It was pretty cool. Luis Fernandez was in there. Nah, I'd give BT props and speak about. Well, I appreciate that. You know, I like talking to people that watch True School. It's always one of my favorite things to do when I go on the road. Yeah, talk to him, reverse. Talk to him, champ. Talk to him. Like Neon needs to have like crazy streaming numbers to talk to get certain girls. I can just be BT and not to my own horn, but I punch pretty high up in weight in that department. That's what I can say. They said, Malik, I see you, BT. I respect your hustle. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, now we was down there in back in late May. We were down there in Miami. Because I had this funny joke. There was this joke. I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys a camp story. Do y'all want to hear a camp story? I'll tell you guys a camp story. So I remember back in I want to say maybe. Hold on, let me unplug my headphones. I gotta try my phone. I'm gonna say in late February, early March. I'm talking about pre-camp. I'm talking about right when. Hold on, right when they just when they announced that Manny Pacquiao promotion on the purse bid. I remember I had just got to Vegas. I was there for pre-camp with the champ, and I remember I've been getting on his case for the last 2 years. For the last 2 years, I've been getting on his case about just promoting myself more, talking more, showing more of the version of Angelo that I know beyond just boxing. Because a lot of you guys don't know that person. I do, and he's starting to do that with time. But I made this joke about. I was throwing out all these ideas for things that he could do to get his name out there. And one of the things I told him, I was like, bro, you need to go to Miami Swimsuit Week, and you need to go pose a picture with the belt with the models, right? Now I was just talking shit. I didn't actually think it could happen, but when we were in camp, middle of camp, probably a month before the Alima fight was supposed to happen, I started sending my emails out to people. And one of the people I emailed, I found the email from Miami Swimsuit Week, and they got back to us and they said, yeah, you can come. So me, Angelo, and one of our photographers, we went to Miami Swimsuit Week right there on South Beach, right there on, Washington Avenue. We met a lot of people. We did a lot of networking. None of us did anything crazy. It was literally just for business. And it was great. It was a wildly successful trip. And I remember it wound up happening. It wound up happening. And that's where we met the girl Malik. Because at one of the fashion shows, she was just there, and I said hello to her. I introduced myself to her, Angelo, and then Eric Lenses Jr., who's part of the camp and a good friend of ours, and a 140-pounder. And yeah, it was interesting, really interesting couple of days, and I learned a lot about myself and all these guys. So it was great. That's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying, Cyrus. They don't know, man. They don't know. It'd be a reason I'd be going to these fights by myself. Because I'm cool. Cool like that. I got the pants, champ. I'll never forget BT calling Tio over Loma the first time I found out about his channel. Yeah. Back in 2020, a lot of people wasn't believing in Tio. And, I think, back then I was a lot higher on Tio than I am now. I think a lot of things, not I think, actually. I won't even say I think. I know a lot of things happen to Tio beyond boxing that most of the world doesn't, because he's in the South Florida area. So people talk, and I just know things I shouldn't know about him. And just a lot of things that blocked him mentally from being the fighter that he was supposed that he ultimately should have been. His potential has been capped a little bit. He stagnated, right? He hasn't grown. He hasn't fully developed into what he was showing to be in the early 2020s. But yeah, I knew he'd beat Lomachenko. That was a fight I knew he was gonna win. And that was God's plan for his life, and that's why it happened. So yeah, great times. That's probably one of my proudest predictions in the history of this channel for sure. I have a lot of predictions that I'm proud of, and I have my fair share of predictions I'm not so proud of, but that's one of the predictions I'm most proud of is that one right there. Because a lot of people was chucking Tio to the wayside after he fought Masayoshi Nakatani when he looked like trash in that fight. A lot of people didn't even think Tio was going to beat Richard Commey the way he did. So, I have a long memory. I remember all these things. Yeah, tell him, Outer Pal. Tell him, yeah. You know what it is, champ. Yes, sir. You know. I remember you made that neon quote in Japan. Did I? I don't remember. I know I quoted it before, but I don't remember saying it in Japan. If Rolly beats Tio, he's arguably the greatest overachiever in boxing history. I kind of feel like he's already that. If you really think about it, Rolly started boxing when he was like 16 or 17 years old. He beat he knocked out Anthony Yiggett, who was an Olympian. So think about that. You knocked out an Olympian. You started boxing at 17 or 16 years old. That right there is an accomplishment. Just knocking out an Olympian. That's hard to do. Then to beat a guy like Ryan Garcia, a guy who was an elite blue chip talent coming out of the amateurs, guy that's more talented than you, at least on paper. You beat him. Yeah, he beats Tio, but I will agree with you. He beats Tio. That puts them in a whole other stratosphere, I feel. Mikey Garcia or Loma at the time that fight was supposed to happen. Who would I have picked? I would have picked Loma. I think Mikey Garcia back then, I used to say this back then, and I'll say it now. Because I was like, people looked at me back in those days. If you were watching me back then, which you might have been, Hoops Combo, because you came from that era, I was like a Mikey Garcia hater because he ducked the hell out of Lomachenko. He got up in Lomachenko's face, shook his hand, talking about we want to put together a big pay-per-view fight, this, that, and the third. And he wanted to go fight. He went fighting Broner and all these other guys. He didn't really want that smoke with Lomachenko because the fight was there. He even ducked Jorge Linares. The Jorge Linares-Lomachenko fight happened because Mike Garcia ducked Jorge Linares. To me, Mike Garcia was like the James Harden of boxing. Like in basketball, James Harden had all the talent, all the skills, probably one of the best scorers ever. He is one of the best scorers ever. But he didn't have that fire in his belly. He didn't have that drive to be a champion. Lackadaisical on defense. Terrible work ethic, in terms of just evolving his game to the level it needed to be to become a champion. And he just didn't have that. He didn't love basketball the way he needed to be great. And the same thing was there, Mikey Garcia. All the talent in the world, 4-division champion, piston-like jab, great right hand, all that stuff. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, he ducked a lot of fights. And, he fought good people too. I won't say he won't. But after he got that top-rank contract, for him, it was just strictly about the money, which I understand it. You got to get it while you can in boxing. But he ducked the Lomachenko fight. Takuma Inoue or Ken Shiro, who do I got? They'd be in the same weight class now, right? Shit. Well, I'm a Ken Shiro fanboy. So you asking the wrong guy. I think it really depends on Ken Shiro's punching power at 115 pounds. If the punching power carries up, he could out. Well, if the punching power carries up and he could outbox, and he gets back to his boxing a little bit, I would say Ken Shiro because Ken Shiro to me is the more talented fighter. But right now, I'd probably lean towards Takuma, even though I would love Ken Shiro and I would boot my ass off for him to beat Takuma. But yeah, probably Takuma. But Ken Shiro's problem is that Ken Shiro, early in his career, he used to actually box a lot more because he has a very good jab. He can box. But then somewhere along the way, he just became this all-action fighter, which I enjoy. It's one of the reasons I love watching him fight, but it's just not going to get the job done against certain fighters. That's why, even though I thought he beat Ricardo Sandoval, he made the fight closer than it should have been, and they gave the decision to him. Have you seen the body slam that Rolly did? I'm not gonna lie. I heard he knew judo or something, but dang, he probably is more dangerous than Rolly knows some stuff. I'm telling you, people underestimate Rolly in boxing. They underestimate him in his judo abilities. Rolly's also very smart. I've had a lot of conversations with Rolly over the years, a couple at least, that have nothing to do with boxing. Just long, extended conversations about life. And smart guy. He's read a lot of books. Knows a lot about money and investing and things like that. And yeah, he's sharp guy. What about Danny Garcia? What did you think about him back then? Thought Danny Garcia was I think he was a great fighter at 140 pounds. I think after he beat Matisse, he rested a lot. He started to slowly but surely rest a lot on his laurels. I don't think he ever made the necessary changes to adapt his style as a welterweight, and he stagnated. And I thought that Danny Garcia, through him not developing his style and evolving his style as he moved up in weight, he slowly but surely relegated himself to an expensive gatekeeper at welterweight. He was probably the best fighter at 147 pounds at looking good while losing. He would do just enough to be competitive in fights, but never win. He never beat Sean Porter. He never beat, certain guys that he fought at 47. So I thought Danny Garcia it got to a point where he became overrated, but good fighter in his day at 140 pounds. But shout out to everybody here. Shout out to all first 4 of you guys here still rock with me, still listening to me ramble about boxing. So I appreciate, every last one of you guys. It's an exciting times on the channel. I just dropped that Stacey McKinley interview, so go check that out. The full interview, it's an hour long, and if you don't catch the full interview, there's gonna be segments up from that interview dropping over the next 2 weeks. Also working on I'm supposed to be interviewing Phil Hergovich here at the end of the week, and then Sean Porter said he wanted to come on live one of these days, so I have to go follow up him about that. But yeah, exciting times here on the channel. I can't thank God enough for all the beautiful things that are happening in my life and boxing and all you people in the chat. I thought Sasaki wasn't gonna make it when Norman knocked him out. Jin, I've said this a lot about Jin. People just think that they say oh, BT, you're gonna stick around the Japanese fighters because you love Japan, and I'm like, nah. Before I ever knew Jin or on a personal level or anything like that, I saw something in Jin years ago. All right, he has a certain level of toughness to him and determination that I don't see in a lot of fighters, and it was really what it's really about with him is just maturing his style. And I think that maturation started in his last camp when he fought when he was getting ready to fight Sora Tanaka. He came to Vegas. We when I say we, I mean myself, Angel Leo, Miguel Leo, Coach Jonathan Balgame, most importantly, because that's who spent the most time with him. We had the chance to kind of impart some of our ideas to Jin and give him a new way of thinking in boxing. And you kind of saw in that Sora Tanaka fight, he started to box a lot more and use that athleticism and that speed that he has. Obviously, he has his style that he's been fighting, so he's not going to change overnight. But you saw building blocks in that fight. And I wasn't there for the last camp, but me and Jin do communicate. I did speak to him the other day on Instagram, and all the reports I got back from him and everybody in and around him were amazing. And he got great sparring out there in Vegas with guys like Ricardo Salas and Alberto Puello and Charles Conwell. And I think we're going to see a better version of Jin Sasaki come September 21st when he fights the guy David Samaju, and hopefully he wins and then improves his ranking, and then boom, hopefully the next fight could be against a legit top 15 opponent. And I believe in him. I believe in him a lot. Is there any fighter that you look back to current that you are very happy that you got a chance to witness their career? Yeah. I would say even though he's not officially retired, I would say my favorite fighter of all time, Roman Cholatito Gonzalez. What a great fighter! What an amazing fighter! What a once in a lifetime type of talent. People don't understand how great he was at the sport. Really happy to have been in the building to watch him fight Carlos Cuadras. If I take it back even further, I would say someone like I give you a casual answer: Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, especially Floyd. Floyd and Manny, just that whole era, the standard that those two set, how great they were for so long. I really enjoyed both their careers. Joe Calzaghe, Bernard Hopkins was my introduction to boxing because the first fight I watched was Hopkins versus Trinidad. So him, those guys. Shout out to my man Tyson. He says, new subscriber, fire segment with you and your pops. Well, thank you, Tyson. Appreciate you and welcome to the home of boxing, man. I would highly encourage you to go check out one of the deepest, best video archives in all of YouTube. A lot of great stuff on there. Do you agree that Amir Khan would have been a tough fight for Floyd? Maybe for like 3 rounds. I think inevitably Amir Khan was a really good fighter. Yes, he had some things that could have troubled Floyd, like his speed and his reach, but Amir Khan wasn't the greatest fighter in the world at making adjustments. And when you fight the master of making adjustments, you're gonna be fucked. Floyd would have figured him out. But it would have been a good fight. It would have been a good fight. It would have been that cool to see Floyd deal with his reach and his speed. But I think Floyd would have been too smart for Amir. Amir got knocked out at every stage of his career. He got knocked out when he was a prospect. He got knocked out as a contender, and he got knocked out as a champion. You know, and the big reason why he got knocked out so much is because after fighters get accustomed to his speed for 2 rounds or so, they figure him out, and they counter. And Floyd's a master counter puncher, and he's a master of adjustments. So that's how I feel. Japanese fighters are the real fighters left in the sport. They've always been willing and ready combatants. That's why I love them. Jin is a madman. My man said Jin is a madman. That KO didn't make him a gunshot. No, that's how he is. Like he's one of them guys that will die on his shield. That's why if you go back and you watch all my pre-fight predictions for the Brian Norman Jr. Jin fight, I said, look, Brian Norman Jr. is gonna have to nail his ass to the canvas, otherwise this ain't gonna work. And that's thankfully that's what he did. And that's why he won. Otherwise, Jin would keep throwing. We need to start a countdown until Joseph Alganoya goes pro after July 2028. Heavyweight boxing will be back. He's the big talk of the town in boxing right now. I know my good buddy Sean Tatel has been exceptionally high on him. He's done a number of interviews with him. I haven't watched him fight yet, so I don't have an opinion. But if Sean is saying great things about him and Roy Jones is saying great things about him, then how bad could he be? I started watching Abdullah Mason when he was 7-0, and it's been a treat to watch him grow and develop so far. And likewise, I mean, I started watching Abdullah Mason from his pro debut. He debuted on the undercard of Mikhail Amir Hamadouche. I was there actually for that. I wasn't there for the fight. I was actually there at that time to go meet up with Tanisa Estrada because she was there that night watching her friend fight. But I was there at the Virgin Hotel that night, and I got a chance to see a bit of the fight and was very impressed. And I had the chance to get to know the Mason family, all the brothers, the dad, Valiant. I even set up some sparring for them back in 2022 when they came down to South Florida. So we have a good relationship. Me and the Mason family have a great relationship. It was that's why it was great to see them in Cleveland on when he was as a champion. They all had that respect for me, and I had that respect for them. So yeah, big things ahead for Abdullah for sure. A couple of 100 years ago, Jim would have been waving a sword around on a battlefield. I agree. 1,000%. He would have been chopping people's heads off 1,000%. What's my fight of the year so far? My fight of the year so far, that's a great question. My fight of the year so far, I really enjoyed Mason versus Bell recently. I enjoyed Zayas versus Boots. Matthias Smith, I was at that fight. I'll tell you guys my favorite performance. I don't know if I would say it's the best fight, but probably my favorite performance of the year from a fighter, I really enjoyed Alan Chavez versus Miguel Madueño. That was a good one. Seeing a southpaw punch through the target. Do you think you could get Abdullah Mason on the channel one day? Easily. I just had him on the channel during fight week, and I've had him on the channel many times before. But yeah, for sure. Can Colazo want to fight Pedro Tadron? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he can be Ricardo Sandoval, but I'm not letting him live that one down. That was some whole shit that they're pulling with Pedro Tadron. And then he don't even want to go to 108 pounds and go fight his fellow Boricua Santiago in a big Puerto Rican super fight. That'd be a big fight. Plus, I want to see my man Yugo Osaki get his chance at Colossal because me and Yugo talked about that fight a lot. Yugo would smoke Oscar Collazo. I mean, I like Collazo. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he's in the discussion for the best skilled fighter in Puerto Rico. But like, you just now getting a little fanfare. You acting like a diva. Like a diva. Like how are you gonna be at 105 pounds and act like that? You know. What do I think Tiger Johnson's ceiling is? I think Tiger Johnson will be a world champion. I think he'll win a belt. Now I don't know if he's going to be a dominant world champion, but I think he'll win a world title. He definitely has a ceiling. I've always thought Tiger Johnson had a world championship ceiling for sure. Amir Khan stayed in the pick too long. You mean in the pocket, like up close? Yeah, and he would get real tall with his chin. He'd be like this and get clipped, bang, right on the chin every time. Think about Danny Garcia with the left hook. Think about Maidana in their fight. Think about just damn near all of it. Chris Algieri changed his whole style up instead of walking his ass down and it was hurting him when they fought at welterweight. So I mean that'll tell you everything about like Amir Khan and his durability or lack thereof. What would you do if Inoue fought Casemiro next? I would tell everybody that now Inoue is ducking Angelo Leo. That's what I would say, and I would say that this is very expected. And he's in every time it comes time to move to featherweight. Now Inoue continues to create opponents that nobody wants. I mean, I don't want to say that people, the Filipino boxing community would be all over that fight, and you know. Inoue better move to featherweight before Casemiro messes around and becomes mandatory, because if he becomes mandatory, Inoue is in trouble. He's going to have a lot of public scrutiny from the Filipinos on his neck. But like, you know, I've been hearing about him fighting Bam, Nishida. Now Casemiro's an option again. It's like, bro, can you just go to featherweight already? Can you stop the nonsense and go to featherweight? Talked all these years, like 2 years, two and a half years. He's been talking about building his body for featherweight, and I get it. He's not big, but I'm just getting sick of everybody telling me what he would do at featherweight. But then his whole team, Ohashi, his dad, himself, they act like I don't want to say they act like they know what's up at featherweight. That those are hard fights. That there's going to be real challenges, whether it's against Leo, Espinoza, Shushu, or Brandon Figueroa. Now, personally, for me, I'll be honest with you. I think Inoue will be more than fine against Shushu. I know Espinoza's big. I actually think he'd be fine against Espinoza. I actually think the two toughest guys for him in the division would be Angelo Leo and Brandon Figueroa. Even though Brandon doesn't have a great style, Brandon is big. Brandon throws a lot of punches, and unlike Espinoza, he's actually a more durable fighter. Bro, Nishida would be ass. But Nishida is popular in Japan. More popular than I even realized. I didn't realize how popular he was in Japan until I was there, because I was in Japan when Nishida was fighting Nakatani. I didn't go to the fight, but I was there in the country. So I heard the people in the media, and a lot of my friends would inform me about what was being said about Nishida and how much fanfare he gets there. Nishida gets like the whole Osaka. He gets the whole Osaka, Japan behind him, because I think that's where he's from. He's like I think he's the biggest name from Osaka that's not Kameda, and he actually gets to fight on the Mr. Honda shows and things like that. So that's where he gets his fanfare from. I don't want to see that fight, but I've heard it be talked about. Isn't Espinoza on his way to being shipped soon? Hasn't it been almost a year since he's offended? I don't know. Let's ask. Do you want me to ask? Do you want me to ask Gustavo Olivieri? Because yeah, let's ask that question. Because when did he fight? When did this guy fight? When the hell did Espinoza go fight Robesi Ramirez? Hold on, Espinoza. I'm gonna say it was like December of 24, but I'm not entirely sure. You guys can let me know. Because I know Robeisy Ramirez was his mandatory in the rematch, but we're gonna tweet Gustavo Olivieri. So he fought Robeisy in what year? So yeah, he fought him in December of 24. So we're in July of 26. So that's 12 months. That's 7 months. He has not fought a mandatory challenger in 19 months. He's had 2 voluntaries. So let's ask. Let's go to screen share and let's ask Gustavo Olivieri because we're tired. We're sick and tired of Rafael Espinoza. All right, let's go ask because I think it's a valid question. And shit, I want to know too, man, because we trying to get these fights going. We trying to get the Angelo Leo Espinoza unification, and if we give you guys that fight, that'd be amazing. It ain't on us, we don't have the whole country of Mexico behind us. We don't have Top Rank fully behind us. We don't even have really Pro Box hasn't even fully invested the way they probably should have since he became the champion. So, it's not up to us. We fight who we gotta fight. Espinoza got more power than Angelo right now, politically speaking. But let's ask. I think it's a fair question. Let's see. It's been 19 months since Rafael Espinoza fought a mandatory challenger. He's had, let's count them up. He fought Trino. Trino was a voluntary. Vasquez was a voluntary. And K-Guy was a voluntary. He's fought 3 voluntaries. Okay? So, he's had 3 voluntaries and hasn't fought since, let me see, when did he fight? December? November 25. So what is that? That's what? We're 8 months. He hasn't fought in 8 months. So he hasn't fought since November of 2025. When are you going to make him fight a mandatory? Actually, let's not even ask about that. Forget the mandatory because the WBO rankings are weak as hell at featherweight. They got Kenji Fujita, and let's not even ask that. Will you be working with the IBF to help facilitate a unification fight with featherweight champion Angelo Leo? Boxing fans are what? Tired and frustrated of featherweights not unifying. So, what's your take on Espinoza at the moment? Thank you in advance. There you go. We're going to get to the bottom of this because I'm tired of it. So there you go. We just tweeted Gustavo Olivieri. I doubt he's going to tweet me while I'm still alive. But if he does tweet me back, guys, I'll give him a follow. He seems like a nice guy. But yeah, we get to the bottom of this because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of talking about 126 and this, that, and the third. 19 months, yet they want it. That's what I'm saying. This is why I can't get mad. I can't get mad about people who champion Zuffa boxing because Rafael Espinoza can take 19 months without a mandatory defense, get 3 voluntaries, fight just cans, and go make mariachi music. There's no pressure on him. So we don't ask the question. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. Maybe he could be Bruce. That one's really about who lands their big shots first and who's more durable. Espinosa is not very durable. Bruce is not very durable. So that that one's about will. That fight's about will, and I guess like who lands the big shots first. But Brandon Figueroa, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man, because I mean they're both kind of the same fighter. They both are volume punches. They both like long. They both fight on the inside. But Brandon Figueroa is more durable than Espinosa. And there was a fight on the table, and the fight didn't happen. And honestly, I think it didn't happen because of Rafa. Because every time Rafa's involved in a fight, every time Chava goes putting shit out in the boxing media, sometimes that's not even true. Rafael Espinosa ain't fighting no one, And Zanford Promotions is doing these interviews in Spanish that I've been watching, and acting like all these guys are scared of him. No, nobody's scared of him. And I can tell you, as part of Team Leo, we are not scared of Espinosa. We love our chances in that fight. We would cry tears of joy at the fight was presented to us, and we got a chance to fight Espinosa. Honestly, because oh my god. Let me see. I'm about to end this live soon, guys. But shout out to everybody here. Let me go my notifications because my man Josh over here said he responded to my tweet. What did Josh say? Josh said, "Oh, you're funny. You're funny, Josh. You're funny." But guys, I think on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. It's like, what is it? It's like 2:27. It's pretty late. So, yeah, I just want to come here, give him a little 2.5 hours in. We have Pops on the live. Actually, let me see. Let me miss this one right quick. J-Dub says Espinosa could definitely make any of these unifications out of anyone in the way. It's true. He can make any of the unifications. He has the most Instagram followers. He has the biggest fan base. He has the country of Mexico behind him. He has Top Rank fully behind him. He has the most political standing. I'll tell you guys from a political standpoint who has the most standing at featherweight from 1 to 4. Espinosa's 1. Bruce is a very close number 2. Brandon Figueroa is 3. And Angelo is 4. By far. Angelo does not get a choice to fight. Nobody wants to fight because, like I said, can't even get a damn voluntary. You guys have seen how inactive he's been. You guys saw Rice Lane this way. You guys seen all that stuff. So it's not on him. So we fight what we gotta fight. I'm loving the frequent lives now. You've been picking up, man. I have to, man. I have to. We're trying to get to that 100,000. I got a lot of places to go that I want to go to. So we gotta make things. We have to keep getting better. We can't take this for granted because as God gives, God can easily take away. So just learning to be more appreciative for things I have now. What could be done to increase Angelo's leverage? The only thing that I can think of outside of fighting, which I've been working with him on, is building his profile outside the ring. Like today, if you guys go on Angelo's Instagram page, there was this one influencer I met in Cleveland, and Angelo did a video with a guy spinning a basketball on his hand. And just go watch it. You'll see if you go on his Instagram. I helped set that up for him because I met this guy in Cleveland, and he has a pretty good following. I got him on stream with Malik recently. I got some other things I'm working on for him. But that's really it. I mean, because at the end of the day, you still got to fight. You got to fight. And, Pro Box and him haven't been able to, work anything out. Hopefully they will soon. But one thing about boxing, one thing Terrence Crawford taught us all is that the cream always rises to the top. So I'm not bothered. I trust God's plan, and inevitably we're gonna get these fights. And when the time comes, everyone's gonna pay for all this time that we haven't been fighting. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm just curious who can get around that guard and get to shoot through your body like Palacios. Palacios just Palacios. He did pretty much what I thought he was going to do in the fight. I just thought he would do it a little earlier. He let Shushu get very comfortable on the outside. I wouldn't say set the pace because he just wouldn't throw. He would not cross the line and throw in the first 3 to 4 rounds. But once he did, and once he started throwing that tight right hook around Bruce Carrington's guard, you see what happened to Bruce. So you can't get to Bruce. Yeah, I saw Bud spinning a ball from my guy Thomas. So yeah, that video of Bud spinning the ball, I actually that's my boy Tyrone. I met him out in Cleveland. Good dude. I actually that's actually my video. I gave that to Tyrone because I was shooting that for a YouTube show on this channel, and I had the best angle of it, and he needed a great angle of it, so I airdropped it to him. I gave it to him, but yeah, and then he just did a video with Angelo today. He just posted it. He was down there. He was down there today at the gym with Angelo. So if you go on Angelo, if you go on his page, you'll see it, or if you go to my page and watch my stories, you'll see it. Nah, Shu did a great job of keeping him at bay, keeping him like, I give Bruce that you can definitely tell that him and K Chroma are working on using his range a bit more because that's a big key to his success if he wants to win moving forward. But Palacios could have got. I feel like Palacios could have got to him earlier, and I think his, I would say, yeah, inexperience has showed up a little bit in this fight early in the fight. But again, he had a lot of good building blocks in the fight. I'm sure that's actually going to be a win that ages very well for Bruce Carrington because I feel like Palacios is probably going to fight someone, probably knock them out. I like to see Palacios against Espinoza. That'd be a good fight. Or like Palacios is going to get a good win against a notable featherweight at some point. I really believe that. I had a chance to speak to him and his team and Robert Diaz, who helps manage him and things like that. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. He'll get better from this fight. And he did make a bit of a name for himself in the Shushu fight. Oh, my guy Thomas. I met him. Yeah, he was a good. He was a cool guy. Thomas, I met him. He was a nice guy. Yeah, I met him. He told me he watches me. He told me that like he watches my coverage of the Puerto Rican fighters and things like that. So, yeah, I met him. I mean, a lot of people. God blessed me by meeting a lot of cool people in the boxing world and beyond just by being at these fights. So I'm really happy about it. But guys, on that note, I'm gonna end the live. It was a pleasure being here. I'm not gonna be live tomorrow on Tuesday, but I will be live Wednesday night. So I'm not sure what we're gonna talk about or if we'll have anybody on, but Wednesday night I will be live. So definitely don't make any plans Wednesday night. Come join your boy BT, talk some more boxing with me. But I'm gonna take care. You guys be blessed, and I will see you on the next live and on the next videos.